All right.
Almost anything goes.
Almost anything goes.
Almost anything goes. No nudity.
God damn it.
This might be fun.
What is it? All my freaky machines just went zappy. So this is damn it. Oh, I had it forwarded to your thing about George Webb, I think. I don't have the sound on, so I don't know.
Yeah, did you see that that H.A. Goodman video on George Webb?
Now wait a second.
He's like completely slamming them now. He's saying they're nuts.
Well, but this is anything goes now. We can't be talking politically. This is our light.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I thought AJ.
No, AJ's. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I didn't put on this hat and the glasses for nothing.
I got the sunglasses too going.
If I'm gonna look like Fidel and you know, or not Fidel, hey, in 1960, whatever, 62 or whatever, I might as well.
Yeah, turn off the live stream if you want to get naked. And yes, I like to say the word naked.
I can't wear these damn things. I already got the light low. Feel like I'm getting ready to weld or something.
Did you ever do any welding, Carpenter?
Oh yeah, I can weld. I mean, I should say I could weld stuff that maybe I'll stand on. I can't weld stuff I'll let other people you know. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm good at bird shit on steel and stuff, and I can make it hold together, but you know, like I say, I'm not an iron worker. You know, you're not going to get like really great welds for me, and I'm not you know, I leave that to people that do it all the time. I just had to do it every once in a while to put together like templates for. Sure. We did a steel mill, and we had like a whole bunch of rollers, and they were all in a straight line, and it was really long because it was high speed.
Wow.
And so you had to have everything straight, all the bolts right on while you're pouring concrete around them. And basically building steel templates was the only way. So
interesting.
Voila. I did a 4-year apprenticeship as a carpenter where I had to go to school. When the school year was on, I had to go to school 1 day a week. Mm-hmm. And they paid me like, well, it went up, but it was like half my regular pay for that day. Oh. So, I mean, it was how you learn.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm the same with cars. I'll work on my own, but you don't want me working on yours. I know computers inside and out, but cars, no, probably not a good idea. And I was a construction mechanic in the Navy for 2 years.
Wow.
So like a CB?
Yeah, I was with the construction battalion for 2 years. My last 2 years in the Navy.
Right on. You could be a master mechanic.
No, that would not be.
Yeah, I tell you honestly, like I grew up in a household with 2 brothers that were good with cars. And so I grew up like into pound things with a hammer and that turning wrenches and grease stuff. I mean, I eventually ended up in grease and, you know, methyl badge stuff and everything else in my life, but I loved what I did. But my brothers, if my car broke down, they were the ones that fixed it. I was the one that if like something broke on the house, that was what I was supposed to do, except for electric. I don't.
I can agree with you there.
I'm looking at Stevie's little corner there, and I can't tell if she's got a real fireplace or a video fireplace, but it's really.
I think it's video, yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's a video
I
fire.
think it's one of those. I think it's one of them oil heaters.
You
Yeah,
think?
it's one of those electric ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're cold?
Oh, no.
Are you at the North Pole or something?
I like the noise. It has like a kind of a, I don't know, it kind of whirs. Soothing.
It's ambiance. I think it's.
All right, hold on.
Anything
great-
goes. I'm
it's
making
got-
it fancy here.
Yeah, I love it.
It's got great aesthetics.
How's that?
Uh,
Is that better?
don't you think it has great aesthetics?
It does.
Who was that said that? Oh, who was Joy Ann Reed? That was who the hell said that. Yeah, that's.
Oh, God.
I was trying to figure out I knew that word was a trigger for me somehow. So
Triggered!
Triggered!
yeah, that's merely a trigger. That one isn't pulling the pin.
Well, it's funny because when I was a kid, and living down in the South, we never really got that cold to warrant having an actual fireplace. So we always had a fake fireplace, and we put it up, and it was made of cardboard, and it had one of those special like flicker lights that would move around. It was so cheesy, but oh man, as a kid, we loved it. We were crazy about it.
And that's
In
all that
Virginia,
really matters.
we just turned on the oven and opened the door
Yeah.
and friggin' put sheets over the door. And then when my mom first got a microwave, she tried to do that with a microwave because she didn't know. She's like, what the hell? It's not working. Like, no, that doesn't work like that. I'm going back to the oven. All
I love
right.
it.
But look at this tan.
Like I remember when I was little, we used to have one of those like old school kerosene heaters that were like the giant death trap.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh! I don't even know how those things were legal. I wonder how many houses those things burned down.
Well, we had the kerosene light or lanterns all over the house when the electricity went out. Thank God my mom always let all the cats out when the electricity went out, so they wouldn't like knock all the things over and burn the house down. So, yeah.
Hey man, till the day my mom died, she had two kerosene heaters.
Yeah.
That's how she heated the
Right.
place. She had
Yeah.
two of them sit on the floor ones that she'd get up in the morning. My little old lady mom, she'd go out there and get her cans, and she'd either carry the heater or carry the can to the heater and use the little pump thing and fill up both heaters and get them started in the morning and get everybody's coffee going in the whole world, Oh yeah, I remember that in the smell of kerosene.
Yes. Yeah.
You probably get used to it though, right? I can't remember that many instances using it myself, but
Yeah and no. Yeah, you get used to it, but no, you could still smell it. Like some things actually are bad because if you start smelling them and you don't smell them anymore, it's because they anesthetize the inside of your nose. So you could be taking in toxic amounts of something and not even know it. Just a little, word
I had a
from
friend that
Toxic Wasteland.
his family had a farm, like a lot of farms, and but they like had all these pigs like right next to their house, and it just stinks. It stunk so bad, like with anywhere within like 50 yards or so from their house. But I would go there like play basketball and play with him and his brother or something, and it would just like you would get used to it after a bit. And then, but every time it was never as bad as the first time. But every time you would drive there, you'd like your first smell was just terrible, like pig smell.
When I was living in the back of my truck, when I had my little cave, I bought, because I didn't pay for electric at the site, I bought one of those little tiny electric heaters with the fans, and with that sort of insulated cap. I could still get it up to about 80 degrees in there, man. You know, my whole body, because I'd be wet, would just be steaming from being in it. You know, my clothes would steam. I'd have to like crack the thing and have it really hot inside. It would sort of start a circulation. But yeah, it's expensive to run them, but they work.
How many people still dry their clothes on clothes dryer or clothes hangers? My mom still does.
On the hangers?
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, on clotheslines.
Oh.
Clothesline. Oh, I use hangers.
Yeah.
I use hangers as well. Yeah.
Like some of my favorite shirts or something. Yeah, rather than run them through the dryer because it's hard on the print, I'll hang them up.
Right.
We have lines in our laundry room.
I grew up with clotheslines. We had a big outdoor, deck and lots of trees, and we were just, the lines were always up. They were just made of a sturdy, kind of a hard plastic, It was great. I mean,
Me, I hang this shirt up. I don't put it in a dryer at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have that option anymore. Like my dryer broke a couple weeks ago, so like I gotta take it apart. It's the drum of it that's broke, so it's just a time factor.
We're in a laundry emergency right now. I'll probably have to go to a laundry service in a day or two.
I actually have a washboard. I have one of those old time.
I used to dry the clothes with a hair dryer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've been doing that lately with the hair dryer. Like last second, gotta get my son up for school. It's like, oh crap, the clothes aren't dried, and there was the hair dryer trying to get it done.
Right.
I was gonna say in China, I think labor is very cheap. And I know they can deliver your 5-gallon thing of water or whatever, really pretty cheaply. But there's a new social media there's a new app-based company that was taking off. I don't know. I heard about it 4 months ago or something in China about it's like you can pay to get somebody to come pick up your laundry and do it for you and bring it to you. I think it's 48 hours and it's pretty cheap or something. And it's apparently exploding or something.
Yeah. I live on Long Island, so there's a bunch of laundry services where we are. A lot, not every laundromat, but we have a ton of laundromats here, and a lot of the laundromats do, have laundry service. But that's Long Island. I doubt if every every location has that. So, it sounds cool to me.
Yeah.
When I don't have time to do all that.
Yeah.
It gets kind of crazy after a while.
Yeah, I mean, think about my mom. She grew up in the 40s, and I mean, she can remember, of course, the washboards, and you'd have the two big round, rollers, and you push the clothes through that and would squeeze all that water out.
Wringers.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's
a wringer washer. Yeah, my mom used one and washboard hung downstairs. Sure.
Yep, my grandma had one, and it was still down in my mom's basement when I moved out of there. So.
Right.
Yeah, my grandmother still has my paternal grandmother still has one of those things in the house.
Yep.
Did you guys ever try using the hand push mowers?
Oh yeah.
My grandma had one with rusted ass blades.
There's one down on the porch here now.
Yeah.
My landlord put it there.
Oh man.
When I first mowed my grandparents' lawn, it was with one of those push mowers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those things look like torture. Like that just looks like it would take forever to do.
Mm.
Yeah, well,
it got so bad.
Is it longer, or is it harder to do?
Yes.
They're fine if their blades are set right, and if you got really sharp blades, and you have to know somebody that knows how to sharpen, hand tools, and they'll sharpen them up and make them so that they'll cut, and then it's just basically you push it and you get it spinning, and it kind of takes over itself. Its own weight keeps it spinning. It's still no pleasure.
It got so bad. It got so bad that when I was a kid, my grandma told me to mow the grass with that thing, and I just got so sick and tired. I just took some scissors and started cutting the grass. And my grandma, was like, "What are you doing?" Like, it doesn't work. The blades are all rusted and out of place. Come on.
You need to spray with WD-40 just to roll it down the driveway.
Yeah. And the tire was like flat, and I'm like, come on.
No, I had that struggle like just a few weeks ago because I didn't have a lawnmower, and my grass was getting like so high, and I worry about snakes. So I was out there. I was trying to figure out how am I going to cut this grass. I try to make my own scythe with a pole and a kitchen knife on the end. I look like a mad woman out there, and that didn't work. So then I go out there with some scissors, and I'm like, well, in 40 years it'll be done. So really that didn't work. So then I tried a Dremel and then attached these little blades on them. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is just, blades flying at, high speeds. What could go wrong? But that didn't work either. But fortunately, a friend, loaned me one, so it worked out.
My crazy ass dad tried to do it with a chainsaw one time. That was fun. The grass was so freaking high. It was like about 4 feet high, and he was like, "Screw it."
Oh my!
Looked like an insane man.
This is kind of dark, but it's a true story that gives you a lot of insight to your health and your liver and its function. Tylenol, acetaminophen, is extremely toxic to the liver. It actually impairs its ability to filter toxins. Yep. And so this guy he had his lawn, covered with these pesticides and chemicals, and he was on some high dosage of acetaminophen. He went out there, mowed his lawn, all that stuff blew up in the air. He started breathing it, and after a while, he dropped dead. It killed him.
Oh my God!
Real. Yeah. That's a lot of college students you hear about, like having dying of a combination of alcohol and Tylenol, because the Tylenol impairs your liver and the alcohol will just kill you because the liver can't deal with the toxins. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, away from acetaminophen because of that. It's pretty harsh. Very harsh on the body.
I can't remember the name of the town. It's on the way from Battleground, Washington to Cougar, Washington on 503, I believe the route is. Mm-hmm. There's a place that's a steel chainsaw dealer and a liquor store all in one building.
Oh, there you go.
I'm not kidding you. One family owned this. They actually moved to the steel thing, but there for a while it was a joint venture with the owner had, half the store was the chainsaws and fixing chainsaws, and the other half so you could go in there and buy your get your chains sharpened, and then whoop over and get yourself some gin or something to go out chainsawing with. And
that's a bad horror movie.
Actually, what though? I will tell you a cautionary story, because I'm a carpenter, because I got, I've been around this kind of stuff my whole life. Okay. And we're really comfortable with chainsaws and demo saws, big, hulky freaking tools. And, so when I bought my chainsaw, I bought a pair of chaps. You got to have eye protection and chaps. I mean, that's at the very minimum. And I was down, I'm clearing brush and all the crap around the electric fence. And I'm down there and I'm zipping off some tall stuff. And don't you know, I stopped, rested, and let that thing touch my knee while it was still spinning. Mm-hmm. And that
oh God.
Well, what happens is when it hits the outside, it's hard for it to cut through the outside, and then it hits a layer of they're very fine threads of I think probably what is stretched Teflon stuff. not Gore-Tex, the really strong stuff. Anyhow, it's a bunch of little threads and basically gums up the chain, so it never went all the way through. So I learned my lesson about, going out in one hand with a beer in my hand and a chainsaw in the other, kind of thing. Caution: if you do nothing, if you're gonna do that, at least wear your chaps.
I will remember that, because that is something. I'll have like a couple beers and I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll go out there. Maybe I'll fix up some stuff and work on the house, and next thing you know, I'm doing something dangerous, like, having blades on a Dremel in the front yard.
Hey, Stevie, you got those places like in Virginia? They have liquor stores that sell, boiled peanuts, fish and worms, and ammunition.
Oh
you got those?
We do have one. I've come across one, and it's the ammo, and it's they sell the fishing stuff, and it was like CB radios, like it was kind of like a really. I mean, whatever you needed, was right there. Yeah. I found a Buddha statue down there. Like, what does that have to do with any of this?
Cool.
You walk in,
you get to meditate while you're shooting off your guns and drinking.
Yeah,
so,
I have a cool level head on that.
We definitely have those kind of places around Georgia. That's for sure. And if you can't here, just go up to South Carolina. You'll have your pick.
The Kroger stores around, which is actually Fred Meyer's in the Northwest. All of them, you got a store full of food, and then you roll over and there's always a little refrigerator. And here you got, not only you have worms and stuff, but you got all the stuff they fish for, ocean fish with. So you got all this funkadelic freaking stuff, squid and stuff in there. There's some groovy stuff if you ever want like frozen guts or something for a movie.
I don't know. The Walmart here sells grasshoppers, and it stinks so bad over there. It's awful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do they still sell ammunition at Walmart, or is that done?
I'm not sure. It's been so long since I've been in a Walmart. I don't even know what they're doing now.
Yeah, it's been forever.
After Columbine, I know that the Kmart's, the kids that have been shot, that was in Bowling for Columbine. They went and they sued Kmart, or they complained. Something happened, and they
right.
They agreed to take all the ammunition out of the Kmart stores. I don't know anything,
but not the guns.
So I don't really know what they do in there. I have no idea.
Right.
Oh, they sell guns and ammo in the Fred Meyer's too.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, at least here in Yakima, it blew my mind. They remodeled, and suddenly they had a gun display. And up till then, they'd sold some ammo, but they didn't have any guns.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a hunting area. It's a lot of elk hunters and stuff. So, I mean, once you get out into a more rural town, but it's still like, this isn't a rural town. You listen to the news here, and it's as bad as it is in Portland, as far as like nightly news, and it's just like, you got to be kidding me. This is too small a town to have the same kind of problems or worse,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, I remember.
Did you guys?
The shooting at Clackamas.
Did you guys see that?
Small. I remember that.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just commenting on Carpenter, because I used to live in the Northwest, and I don't remember Fred Meyer guns and ammo, but I do remember it wasn't while I was living there, but that mall up in Clackamas, there was a shooting. I remember once. There's been some stuff up there, but overall, I would say when I lived in Oregon, I didn't feel like it was a very high crime place, not comparative to Atlanta at all. I mean, here it's like things really happen.
Right.
I've lived in Portland 4 or 5 years, and I can say it's definitely a different feel in like towards the center of the city. St. Louis.
I agree.
St. Louis, like, so definitely.
Yeah.
Very different.
Wow.
Yeah, we've actually, it used to be here that crime was like relatively low, But now it seems like people are losing their minds. I don't know if it's just like the drugs or if it's like, like the coal-fired power plant, if it's putting out like some kind of toxin, because I know that's what, like lead will make you violent and stuff.
Yeah.
So I wonder because, I mean, like people are just doing stuff like stabbing each other just for no reason. It's like, use your words. What are we doing? You can't just stab people.
Well,
It's true, we can't discount the impact that chemicals and things have on people's mind and the way that you think. There's no doubt. I mean, temperature has an effect. More violent crimes happen during the summer. It's just,
summer, yep.
People they get upset easier. It's like, yeah.
Well, that on top of the fact that all the trees, that problem I was telling y'all about where the trees they'll turn like this, I mean, it's a really pretty shade of red, and then all the leaves will fall off and it just dies.
Right.
And I'm seeing more and more of it. And it's spreading, whatever it is. I don't know if it's air or if it's like rain or something. Something's going on. And if it's doing that to the trees, it's hard to tell what it's doing to the people.
Yeah, they just cut down, acres and acres. For a very long time, we had a lot of wooded areas around here. And these developments have come in, and I mean, they just clear cut everything. It makes me ill. I don't even want to look at it. It makes me so sad. And so now, of course, it was on the news just the other day. My mom said she took a walk through the neighborhood and saw a couple of coyotes. The coyotes are everywhere. There's coyotes, there's fox, all kinds of birds, owls, all sorts of animals all displayed. Because now they got nowhere to go because we tore down all their home. I mean, I hate that. I just hate that so much.
Yeah, I just saw that about Detroit having a coyote problem.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Detroit, coyotes.
Yeah.
Nice hat, Ebon. I got a hat too.
Hat night.
It's like a proper like investigator or PI or somebody cracking into conspiracies.
What's your favorite private investigator show, movie, or are you into private investigators? Like
Columbo. Columbo is my
Oh yeah.
jam.
all time?
All time.
Yeah, all
He's
time.
the all-time best.
Just one more thing. More thing. I'm a big Jim Rockford, of course. I like Rockford Files.
It's cool. Yeah. I like Rockford.
Yeah, Columbo was one of my favorites. When I was a kid, I'd watch that all the time. Oh, Peter Falk. I just loved him.
You were talking about crime a moment ago, like in being on the rise or something. I just had this interesting thought the other day that is it that police have this quota and at the end of the month they're trying to like, get people more, or could it also be like the people are trying to make rent? Like sometimes like that maybe that's why crime goes up, theft or something. At the end of the month, I don't know.
Yeah, well, we had a lot of like, what is it, like personal property crimes, like like burglaries and stuff like that, and that was like mostly like drug related, and well, mostly drugs, but there were some people who was just that's what it was, trying to make rent, but that now I'm seeing like it's violent. These are violent crimes. But that's you put people on
hand to mouth like that.
Okay.
I love you.
Love you too, Ma.
Like 7 out of 10 Americans don't have $1,000 in the bank saving. It's a real hand to mouth.
Sorry, I didn't have to. But yeah, in Oregon, I would say that it was definitely more like that kind of thing, theft and a lot of break-ins. It was one of the saddest things. I remember once I was recording an album, and the guy who was doing the engineering, he had all this gear, and he would just bring it over, to my place, and we'd set it all up and record. And he left it in his car when he got back home for just a little bit. Someone smashed the window. That happens a lot in Oregon, a lot in Portland. But I don't know. I don't know if the like you're saying, Stevie. I don't know if the like violent crime has gone up or not. But I always know that there's a lot of drug use there, and I think a lot of that kind of crime is drug related.
Well, I mean, there's some gangs and some drug related crimes, but you're right. It's usually like confined to one or two areas, and it's kind of I mean, like in the center of Portland.
Yeah.
I never worry about walking around. Well, I don't worry much about walking around anyhow. I don't look like you can get much from me, so between I think they take there's a formula involved. It's like how much they think you're worth and how much that worth is worth fighting for, so
yeah.
I never quite meet those two criteria, so I'm always a little bit more safe than others.
Hey, Snork, everyone wants to know what you got on your head.
Looks like a British judge.
I thought it was a whoopee cushion for a second, a yellow whoopee cushion.
I thought he was a banana head. Banana head.
Yeah, I thought it was a banana too.
It's his hat. Just trying to figure out his hat. Banana helmet.
If you want a good laugh, watch George Carlin's talk about hats, about religions and hats.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was some good stuff.
Yeah. It's like,
I love George Carlin.
Oh, I miss him so much. He was
Catholic men, hats. Catholic men, no hats. Jewish men, hats. Jewish women, no hats. He's like, I don't want to join any group where I have to either wear a hat or not wear a hat. What is their obsession with hats?
Oh, he was so good.
I was listening to his daughter on a podcast talking about him, and he would write all of that stuff, and then he would sit and he would memorize it.
Yeah.
Until he could do it all off the top of his head, because he'd have those long routines of words that were like, it was like basically like white guy rap, except for very funny white guy rap, I mean, it was hilarious, and he would use language so beautifully. And she said what he did was he wouldn't write high, but as soon as he finished, he would, as soon as it was all finished, when he was writing, he would spark up a doob. It was like his sort of routine that he'd go through.
Yeah.
I mean, it may have been
his reward.
Yeah, she may have told that on. Now, come to think of, she may have told that on Getting Dug with High, which I love watching. Man, sitting around smoking a little bit and watching that show kills me.
I think it's a show called Road Trip or something. It's like something like that, and that's actually a pretty worth watching film. Something like
Road Trip.
It's not like Road Trip. It's like something clever, like upon like playing off of like High or something. I'll look it up and get back to you.
Okay.
Is this musical chairs for hats today?
I like it.
Might be.
Well, time to get more hats.
Oh, I can do the music for musical hats. All right.
So tonight, well, for like the next almost 2 weeks, I've got the 3 dogs on my bed. Yeah, because this is basically where I sleep too. So I got 3 dogs out here that carefully position themselves around the grumpy guy in the middle. So I mean, I need a goofy hat to keep him in line.
I think it was this 2009 documentary special on with Doug Benson called "The High Road." I think that's the one. But the reason I love it, can I do spoilers? Can I spoil it and tell the greatest moment of it, or I won't.
Go ahead, man.
Great. There's something great in that movie though. It's just like there's a lot of cool things. Like it's a cool movie, but there's some at one point it's just so nice. I'm asking. Do you want me to like not say it?
No, go ahead. I'm not giggling at you. I'm giggling. Stevie just put on her Yoda hat, man. That's grooving.
Well, no. So like, there's just this really great moment in that movie for me at least, where Doug Benson, he's like in Ohio or something, or is it Indiana or Idaho? It's like a state where like marijuana is still illegal, and he goes out on stage and he just does this. He goes, I'm here to ask you all to, what did he say? To tell you, he's like, now I'm gonna say it wrong, but he's just like, he said, I came here tonight and I want to tell you all or I think that you should all smoke. Fuck, you know what, man? You might remember what I was referencing if you ever watch it, but I'm gonna mess it up, and I did something about the delivery, like you were just saying about word choice and things. Yeah, I'm gonna not actually go for it there, but it's a good movie. Sorry for
So
the.
how is everyone tonight?
I'm just watching the hat prawn.
I can't get over Ebon's collection already. He's kind of beating us here. Oh my God, Eric! Oh, I meant to
Eric,
sing.
That's hilarious.
I meant to sing a song.
That's pretty funny.
I was gonna do it yesterday and I never did it.
Oh, is it song time? I'm down for song time.
Let's have it. This is a favorite. It's a historical song. It'll get you nice and riled up. Not like we need more, but it's a good one. It's about the Diggers, who were a group of Scots in the 1600s, and they were Christians, but they were a little different. They didn't really buy into the whole system that presented itself to them. They really wanted to just come together as a group and have a very communal life. They were all farmers, and they said, why do we have taxes? Why do we sell the land and buy the land? That's a foreign concept. Very similar to American Indian ideology, which is, a really more natural way to live. So anyway, this is one that, again, I learned from a good old Dick Gaughan, a good Scottish wild child. And it's a favorite of mine. It's called The World Turned Upside Down. It was one of the first songs I ever recorded. And here it goes. Cool. Yeah, here it goes. In 1649, on St. George's Hill, a ragged band they called the Diggers came and showed the people's will. They defied the landlords, they defied the laws. They were the dispossessed, reclaiming what was theirs. We come in peace, they said, to dig and sow. We come to work the land in common and to make the wasteland grow. This earth divided we will make whole, so it can be a common treasury for all. By scent of property we do this deal. No one has any right to buy and sell the earth for private gain. By theft and murder they took the land. Now everywhere the walls rise up at their command. They make the laws to chain us well. The clergy dazzle us with heaven, or they damn us in hell. We will not worship the God they serve, the God of greed who feeds the rich while poor men starve. We work, we eat together, we need no swords. We will not bow to masters or pay rent to the lords. We are free men, though we are poor. You diggers all stand up for glory, stand up now. From the men of property, the orders came. They sent the hired men and tookers to wipe out the diggers' claim, tear down their cottages, destroy their corn. They were dispersed, only the vision lingers on. You poor take courage, you rich take care. The earth was made a common treasury for everyone to share all things in common. All people one, we come in peace. The order came to cut them down. Here we are, guys.
Woo!
Wow, that was beautiful.
The favorite one for after 20 years.
Ooh.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful, Ariel. That was amazing.
Thanks, guys.
Good voice.
Glad you enjoyed it.
You have an amazing voice.
Oh, thanks.
It actually reminds me of the Roaches. It really does.
Which one?
Only Maggie, Susie, and I can't remember the other Roach. They were a trio. They did more dissonant singing though.
Cool. Were they from the UK or Irish, Scottish?
You know what? Let me look it up. I think they're from Long Island actually. Hold on.
Yeah.
Where those Irish? No, they were absolutely Irish American.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
When
agree
was
with
Susie and Terry.
a teenager, I just dug right into all that stuff. I just got deep into it, and I had some really good friends. When I was a teenager, I was playing in a Celtic band called Barney's Goat.
Can you tell me like what kind of other instruments besides harps you guys typically use, or that typically used?
I play the harp, play the guitar, the piano, and have an Irish drum. I'll bring that out sometime with the Gaelic singing, the Irish drum. Oh my God, it's like the coolest stuff. I love it.
Like I know Lorena McKenna, like that's about it. I don't know. I remember seeing it like a community radio station just catching like a Gaelic hour before, and I was like, oh, I love this, and I never could didn't know what time it came on. I didn't pay attention.
I love Lorena. Oh, she's awesome. She started out just going from place to place selling, cassettes out of the back of her car after shows. I just think that's so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she was a total do-it-yourselfer.
Yeah,
well,
I like Middle Eastern instruments too.
I think it sounded like fairy music. I agree with Jenny Lynn. It's like fairy. It's like music that you'd hear for the fairies.
Oh, thanks. For me, I feel like that particular song is more of a rabble rouser, but to me, the Gaelic is just dreamy. I've got that song. It's the Anwajin Wara. That's about the mermaids. Do you know the stories of the Selkies?
No, wait, just 1 second. I got to get this close enough so you can see it. Can't wear this bitch anymore.
What is it? Another hat?
That's when. Can you see it now? That's when she was. That was when she was still Bradley Manning.
Oh wow! Yes.
That one, and that's on all of my hard hats.
Oh wow! What is this?
I have another one.
Yeah.
It says "fuck you." And I got my whistle still from Bell and the Crane. I just can't wear that. So
I've actually got a really good hat.
I can't wear that son of a bitch anymore. It's too heavy, man. My neck can't do that shit. Ooh.
I don't practice Santeria. I ain't got no crystal ball. Well, I had $1 million, but I'd spend it all if I could find the Hannah and that Sancho that she's found. Well, I pop a cap and Sancho and I'd smack her and down. What I really wanna say, my baby, what I really wanna say is I can't define. It's love that I need. Ooh, My soul will have to wait till I get back. I find her and I of my own. Cause daddy's gonna love, want it all. And I feel the break, I feel the break, I feel the break. And I gotta live it out. Oh yeah. Well, I swear that what I really wanna know, my baby, what I really wanna say is I can't define that love, make it go. But my soul will have to wait. All right, I was just playing a little bit, but I was gonna say,
no, that's a groove, man.
Right.
That's a groove.
I like how you did it a lot different than like.
Oh, such a cool tune. I'm a 90s, well, I say 90s. You know, Nirvana, all that shit was my main stuff that got me into guitar, that got me into music kind of stuff. But you know, so that whole.
That sounded good, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get off here, guys. I just wanted to sing a little for you.
Right on.
But
come again.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you guys putting up with my frustration and whatnot.
This is the place to do it. So anything goes. Sorry about the after hours. So after hours, I'm trying to do it so we just talk about current events in independent media, but we get segued off a lot. And anything goes. I think songs, whatever. I think this is the great place to do it, or vent if you want to rant and vent. I think it's a good time to do it here.
I just came on too early, basically.
Yeah.
For that, gotcha. I understand.
Or a good goofy question always is a good one,
Definitely. Back to it. But we'll try to do more. Maybe get more people to do something like this on their channels, instead of just always on mine. Although it takes a bit of computing power to do a lot of the video stuff to push it through OBS. So eventually we'll get there. And if you guys have your own YouTube channels, try to get it to 10,000 views. Otherwise, YouTube won't let you live stream. So.
Gotcha.
All right.
An accumulative of 10,000 views, basically.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So do something like very popular. Talk about Trump. Or Star Wars.
Trigger.
Yeah.
Very triggered.
Triggered.
I was going to suggest too, maybe since a lot of times when everybody's trying to talk and stuff, maybe we should have like a little buzzer. Buzz.
Yeah, I was thinking, try to limit it to maybe 10 people at a time or something. Because 50 people could join and be crazy, but have some sort of queue. But the thing is that this app doesn't really have a queue, so I haven't figured out how to do that. Maybe I don't know.
I was about to say, because everybody could mute their own thing. That was kind of a nice thing, is I could mute it and take my dogs out and stuff and not screw around with you guys. So, that's kind of a nice feature. We could still have more people. Yeah. We just got to have some sort of a system of making sure everybody speaks, kind of thing.
Also, on the app, there should be something where you can raise your hand. I don't know what that is.
I'd rather use my real hand.
Yeah, or maybe we just use a real hand. But
it's under more.
More.
It says more at the bottom when you get the screen up. It says audio, video. Now we dropped off. Anyhow, on the bottom of my screen, I have an audio, video. When I touch the screen and everything pops up here. I have audio, video, share, participants, and then it says more. You press it, it says raise hand. Yeah. And then I guess that little dude pops up.
By the way, I saw on your screen desktop, Snork, you got penis peppers.
I don't see any of this that Brooke and Carpenter mentioned.
I wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
I got
it too.
I'm sorry.
Right
I got a suggestion as far as trying to get people's views up. Everybody give each other their YouTube channel, and people visit each other from after hours.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like if anyone is definitely wanting to get to that 10,000 mark if you haven't.
Yeah. What the hell? Oh, nice. That'll get you to 10,000 views.
Oh man, it's circumcised and everything.
Oh man, if that's what's growing in my garden, I'm in trouble.
Penis pepper recipes. There you go.
I've got a mystery plant growing out there. I don't know what's going to come out of it. It could be cucumbers. It could be watermelon. I don't know. We'll see.
Sell them at your local porn store.
No, sell that on eBay.
No, sell them at your local porn store.
Farmer's market.
X-rated farmer's market.
When Jay Leno was still doing his Tonight Show, I was watching an episode one night years ago, and he was doing some sort of skit where he asked the audience, like, do you believe that these people bought this item or did sell or did not sell? And a chicken McNugget, literally, I kid you not, a chicken McNugget shaped like Jay Leno's head sold for a few dollars.
Wow.
Insane.
Anything Jesus will sell like crazy. Anything.
Oh, absolutely.
Jesus' face.
So if you have the desktop app, you have to open up at the bottom. There's participants, and next to on the very bottom left, it will show a raised hand, and then you'll see on the screen the blue hand. Yep. So we could use that if people really want to get something in, because sometimes, even me, I'll keep going, and I'm sorry.
So how do you post a picture? Like, I don't know, people keep putting pictures up. How do you do that?
At the bottom, there's a share screen button, and you can just go ahead and share any picture.
Okay, because you can't see.
That was a nice horsey that I met in Portland.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice, man.
No. Yeah, far from nice, man. I watched that same guy take a woman and with the back end of his horse rake this poor woman across the side of a building with its ass, just squishing it. And then she was just reaching down to pick up her backpack or her sleeping bag. And she got rolled by this freaking cop. And then he started pushing me because I wasn't going fast enough, because I ain't like the fastest cat in the world. That was just like one of those quick over the shoulder, try to get a quick picture of something.
I've had cops surround me with horses. I was working at a building at a high rise, right? And the cops kept riding over our lawn and letting the horses piss on it. So I went out there one night and I was like, hey guys, don't let the horses piss on the lawn, okay? Or go around. These guys surrounded me and were like, we have every right. This is a public park.
Oh, boy.
And they were right around me. It's crazy.
Jeez.
That didn't work. Crap.
That kind of thing is always really, it's nerve-wracking because it's just, you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know how they're going to respond. I mean, they could have just said, well, you're being difficult, so we'll put you in jail. I mean, you just don't even know.
Well, we just shut down the what the hell was it? It's actually a Washington Mutual at that time, I think. It's still WAMU. Before the group got to the door, before we got to the area, like most of the banks, they kept tabs, and before we even got there, they locked up their buildings, but they didn't. So they had like the atrium open. So some people got into their buildings, some people were in the atrium, and just there's like, once you enter a bank, it's like federal crime, man. I mean, we just I was standing outside when the cops eventually rode in with the horses and RoboCops.
It's
Hi,
crazy.
how are you? Do you have that with the ball peppers or the penis peppers? Hancock?
Survival ration?
I think I saw that movie with Will Smith. God.
Hey guys, I know this is anything goes, but could you guys stop showing pictures of your penis and cocks?
High school.
Well, I did show you a picture of a horse, so I understand.
Oh yeah, that was hung. That was a hung horse. Sorry,
Oh my God, we're actually going there.
All right, I'm done.
I wasn't gonna say shit till he started it, so don't blame me.
I'm for the lulz, but damn.
Anything goes.
I'm muting again.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can.
Back to Broken's hat. When I went to high school, I moved to a community that was mostly the descendants of Norwegians.
You're a little quiet, Snark.
I moved to a community that was mostly the descendants of Norwegians, and like names.
Oh, Snork, Snork, your mic is really quiet.
Yeah, we need to raise the volume on that, brother.
It always seems like once we reach 2:15 a.m. after 2 a.m. Snork's mic just kind of goes down.
Drifting. The mic's getting.
I just thought of something else. I'm sorry.
What was it? It's gotta be good.
I think it's.
Ariel knows.
Okay, how's that?
That's better.
Okay, they like names of the kids. If they started with a K-N, they pronounce the K. It's not like knife where it's silent. So they have names like Kniddle, Knutson, and I figured out that the word for something working was kadup. And after they're there for a while, you pretty much find out that fa means it doesn't. Yes, I saw that hat that said "fuck you," and if something didn't work, they'd say it was "fuck it up."
I'm gonna have to use that.
Like in class, and then the teachers would say it and all that.
I just always, if it was like my boss, I would say, "Oh, it's for all questions." At the time, I was like, I don't know. I think at that point, I was like a foreman, and I just had the shits of everybody. So I'd just take off my hard hat, turn it around, and show it to them, and not speak to them.
Yeah, in southwestern Minnesota, the people there still have a stronger Swedish accent than Swedes do now.
Minnesota is a strange land. It's strange to drive across it and talk and visit with the people. It's just isolated way out in the middle of the country. It's kind of like Iowa in that sense. Iowa's kind of a weird place.
Iowa has a lot of different areas.
Yeah, it's very regional. Like Winterset, Iowa. Have you ever been? Anybody ever been to the middle of Iowa? That's where they filmed Bridges of Madison County.
Oh, okay.
That's a weird town.
Yeah.
I drive through Iowa every time we drive to Omaha, Nebraska. Oh,
from the East Coast or West?
From the East Coast, from Boston. So, what's the longest drive anyone's done? I've gone from Pensacola, Florida to Seattle, or Bremerton, Washington. Has anyone done anything like that, cross-country drive?
Yeah, I've done that.
Orlando to
Stuff like that.
Orlando to Des Moines.
Okay. I drove once from L.A. to Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
I did Portland. I did Portland to New York for the first anniversary of Occupy in the back of a van, in the back of a cargo van that had temporary tags on it. Leaked gas, so it smelled like gas all the time. There was, I think, 8 of us in there. I took my daughter. She was not ready for that sort of luxury. Yeah. and like 7 of us smoked cigarettes, so the whole time the thing's full of cigarette smoke. So
I couldn't handle that at all.
Driving
It filled my lungs.
Driving east to west across Interstate 80 in Iowa is 5 hours of nothing and maybe 2 truck stops.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nebraska. Atlanta, Georgia to Seattle, Washington, and back. I've done that twice. It was a long drive.
Yeah, if
Nebraska's 50% whiter than Iowa. And 3 less truck stops.
I drove it mostly at night, I think, to be fair.
Once drove from up here in New Jersey, right by New York City, all the way down to Miami. It was a hell of a trek, man.
I think the most beautiful places that when I did do a lot of these drives, because we also did the same thing from Omaha, Nebraska to Seattle, going through Yellowstone National Park and a whole bunch of stuff. But like, I mean, that's beautiful, the mountains and stuff. But also Northeast Oregon, there's some really beautiful rolling hills, greens, brown, orange. It's just amazing, especially if it's like a sunset happening. When you go through Idaho, from the Yellowstone going towards eastern Washington, that's also very pretty. Just so much water and trees. It's just amazing. And I think it was southwest Colorado, because I kind of got lost going through the mountains from Santa Fe, New Mexico, up towards up through Utah. Oh, Utah is pretty too. The rocks.
Utah's very pretty.
Yeah.
Underestimated. Beauty's underestimated.
So anyone else have like, definitely if you do a drive, you should go through and.
I've never been there, but I've heard like northern Montana and northern New York state are amazingly beautiful. By the way, that's just what I've heard. But I mean, I think northwest Arkansas is kind of beautiful. A little bit of it, it's kind of like vast, or like a little openness. But I think Santa Fe is ridiculously beautiful.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of states, and I love the Southwest.
Colorado,
Southern
California.
Sonora Desert in Tucson, in Arizona is just incredibly beautiful, unique.
Yeah, I used to live
Oregon coast
between Phoenix and Tucson. I lived in Phoenix as well.
Yeah,
that area is awesome.
I know, it's really special.
I spent a month with a couple buddies. We spent a month moving, driving. I mean, back then moving was like 3 garbage bags, but going from Shoemakersville, Pennsylvania to Denver through New Orleans, and we spent a month and stayed in state parks on the cheap, and it was a kick, man. I mean, there was some that was brutal.
The Minnesota West.
That's lucky stuff.
The worst, I'll tell you, the worst place in the world is on the coast between Houston and somewhere right on the coast. There's a place called Searim State Park, and it's got mosquitoes like the size of bats.
Oh.
And honest to God, we're driving there. We say, okay, we're gonna go to this campsite. We're all like dragged out. And this dude that we were 2 cars, and the dude used retreads, which were like old tires. They put new treads on. So he'd be driving down the road, and all of a sudden a tire would blow out. So we get stopped along the road, and I was going to hop out and give him a hand, because he's out there. He's like dancing around and stuff. We're trying to figure out what's happening. And I rolled out the window to yell out to see what was happening. And I am not kidding you, a fog of mosquitoes came in.
Oh.
I was actually pushing mosquitoes out by the handful while I was rolling up the window, and we were both laughing at them while I changed the tire. And then
I hate mosquitoes so much.
we got to the campsite. It was the only campsite where the guy was wearing a gun, in a state park. And it was like, I know I was wearing a gun. It's the mosquitoes.
Gotta shoot those mosquitoes out of the sky.
We had our tent set up and nothing flat, and then spent an hour killing the mosquitoes inside the tent. And then we said, nobody is allowed to go to the bathroom for the rest of the night. We had a coffee can in the corner, and that was it, man. Nobody could open that son of a bitch.
Oh my god!
But yeah, that was a cool trip. And then I moved when I moved across the country from Philly to Whidbey Island, Washington. That time I drove we ordered a truck, and we ordered a truck from my sister works for them. The big yellow trucks. Anyhow, Penske. So we ordered a truck, and we were supposed to get one of them little basically like a U-Haul size truck. Instead, I get this big damn box truck, and I had to drag a car behind it. And I went through. Anybody ever drove through Yellowstone all the way through it?
No.
We did that to go. Or that was like on our side trip. But I was driving this gargantuan truck pulling a car through this entire trip through Yellowstone. It was not the most relaxing trip in my life.
Have you ever driven, Carpenter? Have you ever gone through like the Rockies in Colorado, the mountains?
Oh, jeez.
That's an intense drive. It's pretty freaky.
I lived in Denver for a little while.
Yeah.
When I drove through that Santa Fe, Mexico, through Colorado, in New Mexico, there was a twister there. When you see a twister on the road, you don't know which direction it's going. It feels so random. And when the road curves and you suddenly get closer to the twister, you start getting a little worried, and the car's feels like it's gonna tip over from all that wind. But the scariest part is driving up the mountains in Colorado, and it's just so swervy, and it feels like you just take one wrong misstep, or one car takes a wrong misstep, you and them are gone. It does
feel that way.
Horrible.
There's a road outside of Fort Collins, Colorado, like by Great Sand Dunes, that's like that. It's like extremely narrow. You're pressed up against the cliff. And like if anything goes wrong, you're going into this crazy canyon.
I love
It's approved for use.
West Virginia, you want to see some funky ass roads, like it reminds you something out of South American jungle.
Yeah.
There was a state highway. It went down the New River Gorge to get down to the river, from the bridge down to the river. And these guys in these buses from the raft companies are just, they're driving like it's Indy. And it was hilarious. It was like the scariest thing. What the hell is that? Oh.
What's next? We're gonna have masks.
I really wanted to talk about this idea I have, and this show or like what we have what you guys have right now. But I was just thinking that in terms of having a smaller room, I know it's a lot of work, and I was gonna maybe speak to Ebon about maybe like volunteering, like watch or do anything that would help you out, like technically, maybe an episode, not participate, just help out, like watch the chat or DM you if I need to, if you want to tell me what to point or what I would need to point out or what to watch for. But I also want to say so I know it's hard work. I'm not trying to underestimate that, but if there, I think separately we should it would be great if maybe Brooke and Carpenter are live in the same vicinity or something, or region, as best we could hope for at this point. But maybe down the road, just to shoot for down the road, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, to have like local, maybe like weekly meetups as much as possible, just for like especially cities or anything that would you find people that live in the same area. For somebody West, especially like Stevie, or who is it in West Virginia? Redneck Economics, like in West Virginia, like she really has a lot to talk about locally. But anyway, that's just one idea. But then the other idea, though, it would be that if you had certain topics, and like last night or the other night when talking about how to get these like web personalities or alt media, independent media people together for the, what is it called again? For when they meet
People Summer.
No,
the People Summit?
On show whenever you when you have that, what is it called, panel or?
Oh, an independent media panel.
Yeah, the panel.
So when you're trying to get people for that, like I was thinking, you're talking about how do you get them in there? Maybe sort of some people are reluctant to maybe do free form, like just discussion and have to be up against whatever. But like people would feel more comfortable if they knew what they were getting into. Like just like you're more likely to hang out with your friend if he has like a plan than rather like let's just do something like. If you had like an outline, and like I just had like you were talking about how to talking about before about advertisements and trying to work differently with ads, but then also in getting all these people together and how to do that. And if I was just thinking it'd be nice if there was like a web, if there was like a sort of a list somewhere that you could like email them and say, here's all the topics we're thinking about covering, which ones would be interesting to you, which ones would you for sure want to like speak regarding, like certain themes or topics, issues, and basically then if you found multiple of those guys that like really wanted to do that, and then they could have like, it'd be cool if they could like almost arrange their own schedule and interact. I mean that's very imaginative, and you'd have to like, or offer them the most easy. If you could offer them something easy and something no pressure and like options, and then also have our topics, like you could have like if you scheduled and made a schedule. Keep what you're doing exactly right, like right now, but then maybe have an earlier schedule. And again, I don't expect you to like do all the work for all of it, but if you had like an earlier schedule for an hour, maybe just an hour, where you had like a purpose and a goal, and that's what I would like to have, like a specific agenda, like on the agenda, like to discuss and get really into this, or almost like Chad was saying, like if you want to raise an issue, if we want to talk about healthcare for 3 or 4 days, and then in the middle of that, there's going to be an independent media panel meeting also regarding healthcare. That would be kind of cool that timed out together. That would just make it professional and kind of smooth. But
like so there's a lot of ideas out there, and that's great. And so me and Tim Black formed a media corporation. It's called Bright Path Media. So we want to create a platform to do a lot of things, network independent media together, but keep everything independent, get them advertising space, so not huge corporations to play ads, but also like basically local, smaller mom and pop type shops and things like that. Like a kind of a bidding auction type of where they can get into space and anywhere like that. And that just what your idea did was just give me an idea, and it's just kind of like, okay, say we have someone with high number of subscribers. They have 100,000 subscribers, and they really want to do a limited range. They say, hey, I'm willing to do a live panel, and I'm looking for people who are in the range of say 80,000 subscribers to like 200,000 or higher. And this is time slot. This is the topic I want to talk about, and they're waiting in queue. And then someone else goes, hey, I have 120,000 subscribers. I'd like to talk about this. And they check it, and then they're okay with that date, that time. And then maybe like there's space for 2 more, and then you have basically they just kind of put themselves out there saying, hey, I'm willing to talk about this in a panel, and at this day at this time. And then when 2 days before, something like that. Like if they cancel, that would kind of suck. But maybe have some type of
try not to cancel, like 48 hours, like lock in and get
or maybe it's a popular one, but there's probably going to be people, if someone doesn't make it, someone else is in queue to replace that person. I feel like
there are people that are really passionate, want to talk about things nuanced, and I think like you said, there's maybe a problem with going over 10 or so. So like maybe that would just be a way, if there was something like that scheduled sometime, that a lot of people could meet and then really get into the nitty gritty about, in hopefully a good way, in a constructive way, so that
and
show for it and whatever.
Yeah, and right now, because of the demonetization of YouTube, it really isn't going to be beneficial for anyone to kind of get in together with someone else to do a panel. It could just create potential problems based on what they say, and there's really no takebacks. But in the future, when the platforms are built, it's all based on, and most of it can be based on advertising. So when you have personalities who have 4 people and each of them have an average of 100,000 subscribers, right? That's 400,000 potential views for each of them, and so that could be like a beneficial thing to have something like that. And more people, more views, more advertisers are going to want to put in that slot for a commercial or an ad, etc. So I don't know. There's ideas, and you could still probably have it so people don't they don't want ads or anything on their channels, and they could just base it off of.
I don't know. Only one thing I might add, Ebon. I'm not an expert on this kind of thing because I'm not huge into going after viewership on YouTube or things like that. But there might be kind of levels where it's like, certain people, and I understand too that the more notoriety somebody has, the more they're probably going to be attracted to someone that's going to get them a lot of viewers. At the same time, we don't want to ever get to a place where we won't consider supporting somebody or giving them help just because they don't have a ton of subscribers. Because if they have good content and they really have something going on, they can get the subscriptions. That's the thing. It's just a matter of getting more exposure for them.
Yeah. And that's also another thing is I want to get a lot of people who can't get a lot of views. Like they do some good stuff and is kind of have a you can't really search anyone on YouTube with certain criteria. For example, say you have someone who's making videos every day trying to get out there and their numbers are low, but showing that, hey, this person has been making videos every day for like 6 months, but the numbers are low. Let's try to see if maybe people who have a lot of views and subscribers can give them like some type of praise. So they watch a little bit of their show and give them a praise, and that kind of gives them a little bit of spotlight. So, and if you give a lot of praises out to people who make it bigger, maybe you get a little bit more extra spotlight that way. So there's incentives to promote people who don't have a lot of viewership.
It's an interesting thing out there. I mean, it's like you're definitely melding information with entertainment, and some people, I would argue, Noam Chomsky is the kind of guy that's got a lot of great info, but he's not charismatic. Most people say he's pretty dry. People hang in there with him though because he's smart. He's with it. He's got a lot of good stuff to say. But you got that kind of thing where that's, I think, why Tim does well, because he's very entertaining, but he's also good informative. It's like it's an interesting mix, and
I love that mix.
Yeah,
I feel the same way.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, I'm gonna tune into Tim quicker than Gnome, even though I like him. I respect him greatly. Because it's it's more fun. Yeah, you're getting informed.
What was that?
What was that?
For waking up.
I think that's Uli.
That was Noam Chomsky talking again.
I was gonna say something about Tim because you're all talking about Tim.
Oh yeah.
The thing about Tim is that he's so sincere, and that just comes across with everything he says, everything he does. His sincerity.
I agree.
Me too. I 100% agree.
I was gonna call in to the show tonight, but I missed it. But I want to talk about how, we have, it's called hush money, right? When you sue someone and they do a settlement and you sign an agreement that you can't talk about that information that you're gonna disclose in the lawsuit or something, and that's kind of like mainstream corporate media because they don't make a lot of money because they can talk about whatever they want or because they can talk the truth. they get paid a lot of money, so they don't talk about certain things.
Right.
But it's the opposite with independent media and someone like Tim Black, because he's there to talk about. We kind of promote him, people who pay, give him money in Patreon or donations, to keep talking about things that he feels like he's free to talk about. That we don't pay him the money to tell him not to talk about certain things. We don't give him Patreon donations to say, hey, don't talk about Russia. Like, he'll talk about Russia, but for, hilarious reasons. But
yeah, I mean, we do it because we want him to be able to keep doing what he's doing.
Exactly.
That,
and it's the opposite of what mainstream media gets paid for.
Yeah.
It's a sad way to think about things, but that's how it is.
Yeah. They're basically parrots for the establishment, parrots for their donors, the parrots for the people that are behind them, that are funding them. They just regurgitate whatever ideas or narratives they want to push out to the audience, to us, to the general public.
Yeah.
And they're paid to keep their mouths shut on certain subjects like Dapple and,
Yeah. And
I think we should revisit at some point this idea of somebody setting up our the short-term GoFundMe so we can fund our the thingy so that Ebon doesn't have to pick up the tab on this.
I'm okay. I mean, a lot of people who watch. I'd rather people donate to Tim, donate to the smaller indie media, Holly, Hard Bastards trying to do his network, Jamal Thomas, get him some upgrades, Nico a house, and all these people that really need it. They donate to them. Don't donate for me. I'm
all right.
I'm
all right,
okay.
cool. I mean, I just thought that it should be sort of, because this is such a social sort of community thing. I mean, there's some, I don't know. I'm cool with it. Hey, if you're cool with it, bro, I'm cool with it.
Eventually, I'm starting to do a Indiegogo because I'm trying to create a lot of prototypes for different software and platforms. Mm-hmm. And once I build the prototypes, and that's going to take time because it's just me, right? I got to make sure, create it and then test it to make sure it works. But then it's got to be productized. It might have to have different languages built. And I don't want to spend all my time doing it. So once I create a prototype, I want to hire people to build it. And since I'm not going through, people who buy shares of the company so that I have money, I want it to be through people. So but the thing is, the way that I'm building everything, it's going to be based on numbers, because the computing is going to be based on everyone pitching in a little bit, whatever processing power you have, whether it's your phone, whether it's your tablet, your computer, your laptop, that's going to be what everything runs on. For example, this right here, when I'm going through live stream OBS, it needs a beefy computer strong enough to handle the stream and all the video and images. But because Eric's tried it, he can't do it. It gets really choppy. I know Jamal Thomas, remember on Wednesday, the last 2 Wednesdays, he can't even do his own live stream through OBS, and it's just his webcam. I had to work it through my computer. So we need a lot of numbers. So for me, my thought is $1 for anyone who donates the one time. Any product that I create, it's theirs for a lifetime. So all it takes is 1 billion people to use it, and it'll rival YouTube, and $1 billion goes a long way into creating a platform. It doesn't need to be one company buying me up for $1 billion, right? If everyone uses it, then we've got a free, open, decentralized type of video platform that would never go away and can't be controlled. So
I wonder, there was one time when you could purchase a lifetime membership of Hulu. It was like $200 back in
really?
Yeah, I just wonder if they honor that. Yeah.
Because sometimes you can't be grandfathered in on certain things.
I'm just saying,
also,
later, whenever Ebon's media company turns into like massive, then you'll be happy that you did.
Well, not only that, the terms and conditions is where they stick you with that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
is that they can change anything they want. You can go in front, you have to go in front of their kangaroo court to get anything back. It's
worked really hard, and I noticed the chat too. You watch the chat as well, so like it's a super huge thing that you're doing. But it would be cool if people who really want to work at it and do something like this, like, or really want to work and put a lot of energy and do a good job, like you and Tim and Hard Bastard and so on. And obviously H.A. Goodman has proved himself and things that people put everything into it. It's just it would be great if they can, and I guess they do. It is already happening that like Tim can basically only do that, but it would be cool if you could only do this and maybe expand just like I don't know a little bit more, or do a couple other things. And I think that's and then after you get to that point, then go a bit further and have employees and have a team and things. And like that's what when I see Hard Bastard working or Tim all along working so hard, it's just I'm always thinking, man, I just really wish that he had money to like market himself officially, like really market himself and advertise and really not just use us to market. That's cool too, but I mean, Tim could be much bigger than he is, and Hard Bastard could be part of something like awesome. It sucks that you have to wait. It sucks you have to wait to get the money or whatever.
And that's why I started a software company to build products to help fund the way that we're going to want indie media to go, right? Because we want people like Tim who spend all their time and that's their job to go out and do what they do. Holly Seeliger is works and also does the video on the side. Robert from Bob TV, he works and he tries to make videos on the side. If they're out, and if they're out there doing this as their life, it'd be nice to use the platform of Bright Path Media to give them equipment, give them some money so they can get started and get enough people to view their stuff. If they want to get paid by ads, that they get enough subscribers and views. If they want to get paid through Patreons and stuff, that they can use it to get more followers and know that they're not doing advertising, so they're only supported through donations. And so there's a lot of ideas out there, and like it's not just on me. I want it so everyone has an idea of how it wants to be. And I think that's how we need to build it.
I don't know how much computing power I don't have much computing power, but I do have fairly quick lines. I mean, so if ever I don't, at some point I want to get a tower and put it in for my TV so that I can just go to that. But that's a whole different story. But if I can help, whatever.
It's going to be crazy. The ideas, the technology is already out there. People talk about it all the time. People in technology, like want to use it. I think a lot of it takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time, but also they don't want to do it for nothing. They want to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. They want to be the guy who creates Tesla, whatever. But then we're just gonna. We're gonna just keep creating this whole cycle of craziness, right?
Who was noble was Craig.
Right.
Craigslist, right? Like just made this awesome thing.
Yeah.
So that people can get together and kill each other over a sale gone wrong. Woo!
Oh, do you want to know the craziest story? I think you might have heard of this, Broken Carpenter. But this robbery that occurred in Seattle somewhere. This was maybe a decade ago, or over a decade. So this person posted on Craigslist saying that there's a job opening for a construction worker, and so he told them, we're taking interviews in person. Come at this time tomorrow at this place. Bring your hard hat. Bring your that vest, the reflector vest, and we'll do interviews at that site. And so what happened is a guy with a construction hat and the reflector vest went in and robbed a bank, and then he left. And then all the cops came, and there's people with construction hats and reflector vests, and they're looking for someone with a reflector vest and a hard hat. And so this person got away on a boat somewhere on a river or something.
I never heard that one. I never heard that. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's a brilliant idea. But as far as
Yeah, it's just like,
yeah.
Not tonight. A whole lot better off tomorrow.
Hey, you want to see like one of the coolest bank robberies on like TV? There's a Kojak where he's around Roma people, gypsies, and the gypsies get screwed over. Bad move. So it's like, I can't tell you because I'll ruin it, but it's like the Gypsy's Revenge or something. I don't know. I can't remember, but Kojak's we're way smooth. He can go into any room, just, be cool, and everybody's groovy with him. And he knows all the local customs and stuff when he walks in the room. He kisses them or, does the high five or whatever it is,
Like,
anyhow.
One of my favorite things is just because of strategy and just ideas is come up with scams and what are those things called where
pyramid schemes.
Huh?
That's your plan, is to start scamming people?
No, con artists. No. Like ingenious ways to take people's money, I guess. Just
are you sure you're not a Democrat?
No.
No, I mean, just it's more for fun. But
you use them like bar bets or something. Is what you're talking.
Step one is call it something else other than a scam.
The Hillary Clinton Foundation.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you
All right.
go.
Here's one. You bet somebody they can't push. You each stand in the end of a dollar bill or whatever you want to bet. You bet them they can't push you over. And then what you do is you go and you put the dollar bill in the doorway and you close the door between you, and then you say, okay, now stand on the bill.
The bar one that I know of, it was in a movie with Steve Buscemi and actually a young version of I forget her name, but basically you have a big glass of beer, right? And you have got like a quarter on the table, and someone else has just a shot glass, and you say, I'll bet you that by the time I flip over the coin, that I'll have drank the beer faster than you can drink your shot glass. But you can't you can't drink it until I touch the coin, and then you make a bet or flip over the coin. So they accept the bet, and what you do is you drink your beer, then you flip over the coin, and then you beat them already.
Right.
It's just the way that you word the bet. Actually, I think that version there's a different variation, but once you're done, you put the beer glass, because it's bigger than a shot glass, on top of the shot glass so they can't touch it. And then so it's okay, sorry, I messed up. So you have two beers, right? Two glasses of beers, and that after you drink one, and you flip over the coin, or like it lifts up the coin, so you could turn it over, so or whatever. And so when you're done drinking that one beer, you put it on top of the shot glass, and the rules is you can't touch each other's glass. And then so when you do that, they lose the bet pretty much, because you just drink the other glass and they can't do anything about it.
I actually did this one. I actually did this one at work all the time. I bet you $5. I bet you.
Who's talking?
I was just wanting to say something real quick. So the Doug Benson thing on the high road, to spoiler it, it was like he was like, hello, and he's like, I came here tonight. He's like, I want to ask you to smoke pot. And it was like, and he pauses and then he goes, or be okay if other people do. And I just thought that was such a really cool way to like say that because it was so taboo to say and like illegal.
Forgot about mine.
So anyway, I think it was pretty brilliant. Doug Benson's really amazing.
Who's that?
Really clever dude.
Is that Alex Jones? Oh, hello.
What was that?
That was Garden?
I don't know.
That was
I turned away for a second.
Bar outside Arizona.
Anyway, I was just going to say real quick, I pulled this at work a few times. I bet you I can say Hillary Clinton's a pain in the ass in Mandarin. And they're like, okay, go ahead. And they'll actually give me $5. I'm like, nah, I ain't going to take your money.
Sheila Li is Hillary in Chinese. And then pain in the ass, I'm not really sure, but Ma Fan is the general word for trouble. So Sheila Li, Ma Fan or Han Ma Fan.
I think, Ebon, what you're talking about is the old-fashioned gaffing. You know, gaffing people, having a good trick, a good joke. You know, having a good lure on that fishing hook. You know.
Yeah.
I always talk about Utah Philip that he would tell stories about people gaffing, and he said he knew this old hobo that would just kind of get down where all the tourists were, and he'd walk around, he'd kind of fall in step with someone, and he'd talk about, I used to be a circus clown, and then I got jobs being a magician at kids' parties, and but falling on hard times. Nobody wants a magician anymore anyway. I used to be able to take a dollar bill and roll it up and stuff it up my nose and pull it out the other side. So 9 times out of 10 it would work, and somebody hand him a dollar bill, he'd roll it up real tight, shove it up his nose, then take it back out and go, I guess I forgot how to do it, and try to hand it back.
Guys, I gotta go, and I've been on vacation all week, so next week I might be mostly on chat. But I got a Craigslist ad to write now. I got to get some construction workers together. So I'll see you guys later.
All right, see you.
All right. See you, Independent Outsider. You take care now. Have a good one.
All right.
Thanks, man.
So another I would practice pickpocketing at school during high school, and I got really good at it because it's fun. And they don't notice that when I got their wallet, but people would be watching me doing it. Yeah. So I would get it. I would take out whatever money they have in their wallet. I'd say and put the wallet on the ground and say, "Hey, you dropped your wallet." And so no, I wouldn't take the money. I would see what money's in there. So if it was a $20 bill, right, I go, "Hey, I think that's your wallet," and then people would laugh, and he would get his wallet and thank me for telling him that he lost his wallet, and then I would get a $20 bill from my wallet, and I would play around with it. Hey, I found this, and then the guy would turn around and go, "Hey, what are you doing?" and take the $20 from my hand. I go, "What are you doing? That's my money." And people around me would be cracking up and saying, "Yeah, that's his money. You have your own $20 in your pocket." And anyways, it's just fun stuff like that I enjoy.
I used to know when you used to take a bar coaster. You put a bar coaster on the top of a bottle, and then you balance a cigarette straight up and down. And you say, "I bet you I can get the cigarette in the bottle without touching the cigarette." For whatever, for a buck or something. And then what you do is you flick the coaster, and if you do it just right, you set up. You got to practice it a couple times. If you set up just right, you pop the coaster, it flies out from underneath the cigarette, and the cigarette drops in the bottle.
It's like the tabletop with the linen.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Has to be done right.
The other one that you always did with the apprentices when they first showed up on the job is you said, "Come here." And you say, you take a nice big sledgehammer and you hand it to them. And you say, "You take it by the handle like this, and you touch your nose with it." And after you work for a while, you could take it, touch your nose with it without bending your arm. But like 9 times out of 10, an apprentice goes and he takes it, he gets it right about here, and then realizes his wrist isn't strong enough, and it pops him in the face.
Who are those musicians? The one that's always quiet, doesn't say anything. Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
I like them because they do the comedy routine, and like the magic trick that they're trying to do fails. It fails horribly, and they act it all out as like that wasn't supposed to be planned. So that was funny when I was a kid.
I look around on my shelf. Somewhere I got a book that I'll suggest to you, because there's an old book. It's like I don't know. There's one born every minute or something, where you can't smarten up a sucker, and there's all kinds of things exactly like you're talking about. Sort of just funny things that you can pull on people, and they give them their money back or whatever. If they're an asshole, you keep their money, whatever.
Well, and what I like are the tricks where you ask for something from someone you're doing the trick on. So it's like a nice expensive watch or something, and then you break it. You're doing the magic trick and it breaks, and it's like in pieces, and you're like, oh shoot, I hope it wasn't important to you. But then the real watch is actually safe and whatever. You just get that look from them.
I liked when Eric Andre went into the Apple store and had this brand new I forgot what it was. Was it an Apple Watch or was it? Or no, it was a brand new MacBook Pro or something like that. And but he was wearing Google glasses, so that was the whole bit kind of. And he just takes the brand new computer and it's like, I forgot what it was, but the problem wasn't even really a problem. And he's like, I spilled soda all over this or something, and then he just beats it with a hammer, and the guy's like, "What are you doing? Why would you?" He's like, "I wonder if this will fix it." Or something. It's really Tom Green, but yeah, it was really good. I love Eric Andre's style. But I was gonna say earlier, I had some friends who actually did the poop dollar thing from Workaholics, the early Workaholics episode. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. 3 people fell for it and picked it up, and they actually were yelling poop dollar.
Poop dollar.
Yeah, it was like poop dollar. You put poop in a dollar, and then watch people pick it up.
Wow.
It's
Stevie. So Steph,
Hey.
you DM me. Do you want to talk about what your idea was?
Yeah, I thought I was done, but they're texting me again. I'll come back.
Okay.
5 minutes.
All right. Oh, Uli went to bed, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, Uli.
Night, Uli.
Night, Uli.
I really, really like her. I always enjoy
yeah.
her. They're always really good.
Good night.
Yeah, she's always really good.
Yeah, that means good night in German.
Yep.
Gute Nacht.
Bonsoir, mon ami.
Auf Wiedersehen, bis morgen.
Auf Wiedersehen, bis morgen, ja.
Ich möchte eine Bier.
I'm so sorry about getting so heated tonight with the whole Chad situation. It just really upsets me when somebody comes on and I feel like they're being really disrespectful to everyone and to me and to Tim. I'm willing to give him a shot, but he's really got to chill out. That coming on so strong and just ramming things down people's throat.
I missed it, but...
Oh, it was bad.
Can you give me a synopsis of what happened?
Well, after a full night of it last night, it was just, I didn't say a whole lot, but I was like, this guy really doesn't get it. He's just being really rude and he's kind of a bully. And
Who are you talking about?
The Chad guy. He came in here last night, and my feeling is it's kind of like when you're new, it's hang back a little, get the feeling of the tone of the room and just kind of get to know each other. But he came in, it was just freaking gangbusters. I mean, Tim just about hung up on him when he called in. the same night last night.
Right, I heard that.
Go back and watch Thursday's show, and you'll hear it. And I mean, he was acting just the same way, crazy, hyper, and pushy, and kind of he's got that real black and white view. It's almost kind of vilifying that if people don't immediately agree with him, he's really like, oh, you know. But anyway, tonight he started coming on, and I guess the same thing kind of started happening. And I had it up to there, and I told him, I said, you know, whatever I said. I just got really upset.
The guy that was in here earlier.
I told him that, you know.
I was just ready to, like, when somebody tries to railroad like that, I just start talking over him. Like, I was like, nope, you're wrong. You know?
It did a little bit. It kind of did a little bit. But mostly I just said, you're not going to come in here and talk bad about Tim and tell him that he's demonizing people, because that is not what he does. We all love him. We're all here because of him. We support him. We know he's a good person. Even if you don't agree with every single thing he says, he's a good guy. And I was ready to just walk out, because I didn't want to listen to the guy talk anymore. He's just really, certain people, you know how they get your dander up, and he's that for me. It's like immediately that voice, and then
I don't mind him having an opinion.
I don't know. I don't want to hear
that. He doesn't know when to quit.
Wait a second for just 1 second. I think you got to be fair to somebody, and you can't like do that. I understand where you're coming from. I mean, we've got to do it when somebody's in the room. We can't do it when they leave. I mean, that's not good manners. But I dig where I dig where you're coming from. You were just
right. Can he go back and watch this? You were talking behind.
Right, but you did a good recap. I thought you did a good recap. I mean, you know, I thought the goat story would settle. Between the goat story and Ebon coming on, I thought everything sort of calmed down, and it got to a cooler stage, you know.
Yes, to be fair, I asked about it, so.
I mean,
I think he comes off a little intense. You know, like, I don't know. I see where, like, I can see the brain working. You know what I mean? Like, I can see where he's like trying to work through this. I don't know. I just feel kind of bad for him, because he really is very upset about this.
Intense I can handle, but when it comes across as bullying, and if he listens to
this,
I can he's welcome to listen to this. Yeah. And I'm going to say to you, Chad, if you come back, I'm not going to be a jerk to you. I'm not going to yell at you. But just try to respect everyone, and just be kind and be calm, because we're actually on your side.
Well, just blend with the goats. Blend with the goats.
He believes very, very strongly and passionately about his point right there. But at the same time, that to get us to criticize the guy who's doing the best job in media, and to get us on his side, it's me versus you, stick up for me because I'm actually right. Like, that was just like all just his. Never mind. I'm sorry. Yeah. Broken card.
It seems like he spends a lot of time thinking. And I've done that before. It's like you spend so much time thinking, it's just like you're trying to get it all out, and it just comes out kind of like this crazy, intense, like, this mental vomit.
Yeah, let him. I think you're right. You're right. Let him slide, and let him. You know, I think that give him some time. You know, I think his heart's in the right place. I just think that
I don't know. I might be biased with that song, though. That was a really good song.
You get sort of stuck. I mean, I know from chronic pain will make you isolate, and when you're isolated and you watch politics, it just builds up in you, you know? I mean, only so much screaming at the TV does until you get to that point where you just, like you say, you just want to get it all out at once, and it doesn't come out quite right. So I think, you know, it's one of them things, you know. I think he got into the idea of what was happening, and you know, the goat, I got to say, our resident goat did butt around a little bit, but that was okay. I mean,
I'm sensitive. You know, and I just hate it when I feel like people I care about are getting disrespected and bullied.
Well, at the same time, you know,
I heard it's happening. We're on the sun.
I was in tears.
Garden gnome on the sun. He's
Ariel, I think that it's when the goats get pushed around, eventually one goat butts another, and it's it's gonna happen as long as we can sort of decompress it and make it cool. That's all right, I don't. I know that Ebon wants to try to make it so it's as open as possible to everybody, and I dig that. And
I agree.
I mean, he was saying demonize, which I totally feel like is an appropriate point to get mad. Like,
right, and and I told the story. I told the story on Tim's show about the backwoods bar, and the dude came in and just insulted everybody. It wasn't that he insulted me. I couldn't care less. But I'm like her. You go around and you get to a point where, I know what you're saying.
And it takes some moderating too. I think Eric's a little bit too nice. I have to butt in.
I'm very, but
and
but when it comes to push to shove, I have to push back.
He did jump in there. No, Eric was Eric jumped in there too. I mean, no. He was in there, man.
Yeah, and don't feel too bad of giving someone time out, kick them out or something. But just like when one person, someone could have a bad day. Someone could really want to vent on something that happened that really got them going, triggered. It happens to me. But make sure that they can have other people can chime in. If they say something that demonizes someone you really like, they may have a point, but hear them out first, and then go and rebut them and say, "Hey, that's just stupid," or "Right, I do not agree with that. Does anyone agree with that?" And have a conversation about it. But
I know.
Like you pointed out earlier, you can't let people hijack something for like hours or something like that.
When I got on, I just heard him talking a lot and not giving a lot of people a chance.
I could see him being the kind of person that if you just let him go, that could happen, because it kind of happened last night, and then again it was like, oh boy, here we go, and I just was like, I can't do this again. I can't do it again.
Well, it might seem kind of silly, but like one of the things that I found that like helps is when you start this, instead of saying like, well, you or this, instead of start it with like, I feel, instead of like put it, because like I know like a lot of times, that's how a lot of these like arguments or disagreements start, because it feels like one person is like pointing the finger at the other person, and then like defenses come up and like.
Also, try to say we.
Huh?
Also, you can try to say we, and you can try to construct the sentence passively, like with the you at the end, or like for
yes,
or like for me, like this. When this happens for me, it's like this. So I don't know.
Yeah, when I think a lot of people get upset by what he's trying to convey or trying to say, because he's. To me, it's kind of weird to like. Tim's letting everyone use his platform, and then he goes on there and accuses him of demonizing him. So it's like, you're going on, this guy, he's letting you talk and have freedom of speech, and like making an accusation. It's just like, and it's like after you have that conversation with him and he's like, I didn't intend to do that, he keeps saying Tim is demonizing. It's like, no, Tim just explained that he did not intend to do that. So if you're feeling it that way, or seeing it that way, there is some sort of psychological reason for it, because like, Tim's not going like, people who don't like Bernie are the devil. Like he's not.
Tim's been pretty harsh in his critique regarding the no Bernie crowd, whatever you want to call them. There's going to be some pushback on that. But I didn't see what this Chad guy said or did. But
what does that accomplish, being no Bernie? Like, what does that accomplish other than being like, okay, the Green Party's too far left and they're not feasible, but to say like, oh, but what is Bernie? Who cares? Bernie wants to hang out with and be. Who cares? Like, let him be. I love what Tim said about it. I felt like that was, like, I like what Tim said about it in response to dude. Like,
I'm one of the no Bernie people. This process has played out before. People try to get, some kind of third party movement going, or a different wing of the Democrats going, and it just ends up getting absorbed. And this happens over and over and over the decades. And, you know, while I like Bernie, like he was complicit and completely silent about the fraud that went on.
Yeah. He
You
wasn't
know,
completely
it's
silent though. He brought up. I can show you video where he brought up voter irregularities several times, and that he said that like him and Tulsi both made posts on Twitter like sometime back when the election first happened about how they're going to look into it more.
Well, one post on Twitter months ago, I don't think.
No, it's not one post. They did it
or even several.
We're
as
talking
it was
about
a
after
hot
the confession.
topic. They haven't brought up the lawsuit, but see, this whole when people talk in ultimates, that's when I start to wonder, like, you know, is it that you're giving out misinformation because it's not true? He didn't say nothing about it. He's just said a little bit about it and like, what can we do until, you know, like, because if he keeps bringing it up, it just makes him sound like sour grapes to the people who don't believe him. And a lot of people still don't believe because the mainstream media constantly, you know, like is saying that this was because of Russia, and we've got to get the proof that it wasn't Russia. I mean, on the other hand, and also keep talking about how they don't have the proof that it is Russia, and you know, just kind of keep putting that information out there.
Well, without going into some kind of long monologue, like basically I believe people need to start doing things like general strikes and disinvestment, and then come back to the table and because then they'll have some bargaining chips.
Sure. I think Tim's basic sentiment, though, and I think what he's really trying to get people to understand is that the world of big media and all of that and journalism is so corporately controlled. And because of that, people that even if they have, you know, really good intentions or they're basically essentially decent, whether they like it or not, they have to play within that world.
Or get knocked out, completely blacked out, like Jill. It's like she didn't get 1% of the vote.
They really, truly do it.
It's hard to tell when they won't do anything about. It's very weird to me. I keep bringing this up that like they'll complain about Russia trying to interfere in our election and try to hack our election, but they won't do anything about the electronic voting machines. In fact, they're very cautious to make sure that that's never brought up. So it's they obviously don't care about the election being messed with. They care about other people besides their people being able to mess with the election.
Precisely.
Like I will agree with Garden. I'm kind of on the verge of being a no Bernie, but I love Bernie because I wouldn't be here without Bernie. It's just the same thing. I wouldn't be here without TYT, but we know how TYT turned out.
You love TYT, dude. Love him.
Oh, you're gonna trigger me.
Voters, you got a voters super PAC, like a voters super PAC that's only concerned with like election integrity, like a grassroots super PAC. That'd be cool.
I just wanted to say I apologize for getting fired up, and if it upset anybody or made anybody feel bad, that certainly was what I was.
Oh no, it's totally cool. I mean, like I understand, like it was intense last night, and then you know. Today, as soon as the show starts, it's like bam, and you're like, just no.
I really love you guys. I haven't known you super long, but I love all of you, and I respect all your opinions, and I just think you're a really special, awesome, not special bus special, but special group of people.
We ride the special bus.
Not eat the paste special, but you know what I'm saying. It's
I'm not ready myself to like say no Bernie because like he's the most popular politician right now, and he's very like more left than Hillary was. So to an extent, we would have won a certain, like our pushback, even if he's still doing things that are, you know, it's like, I'd rather have Tulsi, but I don't know if she's going to run in 2020.
It's favorable.
She went to her constituency in Hawaii and did things with them. So it's like, she's very focused on the task that is her job right now, you know? So it's like, she doesn't look to me like, because some people are saying, oh, she's doing all these things that she's definitely going to run. But she's very still focused on her state, Hawaii, from what I can tell from her post, while also addressing the bigger issues. I would love for her to run. I would definitely vote for her over Bernie. But it's like if Bernie has a shot at winning, Trump can get kicked out. I mean, he's already going along with the deep state. There's no reason for him to be there if you want a revolution. Like Bernie would be a step up because it's like he'll still buckle under on some things. But I think that he gets some help. Because it's like he's not got the best war record, but now that Jeremy Corbyn's moving into power and people are like in the streets rioting over Theresa May, Corbin and Bernie are friends, Corbin could talk some sense into him.
I thought that Obama was going to. I thought that Bernie was going to be like an effectual Obama, and be more serious. And I just I think that I appreciate him for being actually establishment. As many times as he said establishment. I appreciate him actually being from the inside guy, so that like all of his stuff that he's saying, which is more like far left, is more like left, very left in the liberal side of political spectrum. So that it makes all that rhetoric and all those points that are great points, and like a lot of us really resonated with a lot of us. And so and I was going to say that I think that it's favorable and fortunate is a good. We should actually. I just now occurs to me that like I should reflect and think it's a good thing that he still has a good reputation. So if he would have been subjected to all kinds of smears, then those ideas suffer with it. Like it's just like when the Democratic Party is being so like disingenuous right now and like ridiculing people on the far left. As they ridicule the people, they also ridicule the ideas and the principles and the values. So it's yeah. But
that's what Bernie's doing though. Is Bernie like what you were saying about Tulsi? That Tulsi's doing her job right now. Bernie's doing his job as a senator, but he's also going around and he's doing speeches about issues, or he's going to places like West Virginia or whatever and doing things that if somebody was going to make a run in the future, it's good things to sort of plan along. But you can't go running for president from the get-go because then you're just a target. You've got to wait until a year or two before and then make your move, because if you make a move too early, and that's same thing with Tulsi, neither one of them's going to make a move until after 2018, because up until then, the elections before then are more important. And then get through there, it's a timing thing.
So my specialty is strategy, and I wanted to start a thing with Jamaro Thomas playing chess. But here's the thing: I think we try to be too perfect. I mean, in a perfect world, a democracy shouldn't have political strategists. I mean, basically, if we have a democratic vote right now, what's the strategy? I mean, we all just kind of vote on an issue and that's it. But the way that our system is set up with parties and mainstream media and money and advertising and things like that, and the people who are writing the laws are the ones in charge. So there's a lot of strategy involved. And while the strategy that Bernie Sanders is using makes sense because it's the same strategy that's been used a couple of times before, but it's never worked really quite well. But it's the only play he's got. Our numbers for independent media, people who watch a lot of independent media, barely is 1 million. I mean, just like a lot of us that stayed our ground voted for Jill Stein. She got just barely over 1 million votes. So it's right now. It's the only play he's got if he wants to take on and try to compete at a certain level. And so I'll give him that. Although for people like us who are small, who are kind of don't have our own channels, don't have big views, our strategy is going to be different, and it's going to be totally outside the normal realm of playbooks. And in my opinion, that's the way that's going to win. It's because they don't see it coming. They don't think it'll work because they don't know what to do against it. So when I do this thing with Jamaro, when I play chess, I do a lot of moves that aren't conventional. And it takes a lot of people by surprise when they study chess moves, chess openings, different variations and things like that. So I don't know. It's a deep topic. That's why I want to do it with Jamaro because he's
and if you read, and the thing is, if you read the Podesta emails, think about it this way: if Bernie was out there sort of already running for president, you read the Podesta emails. Do you think that Nira and all of them, that coven that they got around Hillary, You honestly,
Literally a coven too.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I know.
No, that's a great word
I
select.
shouldn't say that because that's an insult to the Wiccans. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine because there's different types, and the stuff that Hillary's into and Don Podesta's into, I'm not cool with. Not many people.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's like saying Roma. It's like saying the Roma. I don't try to, I mean, gypsies have been insulted all throughout history.
When people talk about Hillary's coven and how weird it is, it'd be like somebody talking about like, let's say you're a Christian and someone goes like, who are those guys always with the signs at people's funerals? It's completely blanking my mind.
Yeah, Westboro Baptist.
Yeah, because like the stuff they're doing is just weird. It's cultish, like it's and I know that the original definition of cult is like a small group, and most covens are a small group. But I mean like in the sense how people think of like brainwashing kind of thing. Like they do things
laying down and dying or committing suicide because the dude tells you it's the spaceship is coming.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Fine line. Fine line.
So anyhow, I think that if he was running for president, he'd be getting attacked by that whole operation because they are doing everything they can to drag him down now, and because he isn't sort of totally on, since the only way they can attack him is by saying he's the most popular politician right now. You know what I mean?
Gotta be in there.
So that isn't really a great attack, of attacks. That's where I'm at, man. I think we give Evan's right. We got to be careful with sort of looking like I like Tulsi's foreign policy a lot better than I like Bernie's, and if she can get a domestic policy that works, I'm cool with that.
It's easy to get really wound up and stressed out about conjecture and trying to figure out what's going on in the future and feeling bad about what's happened in the past. This is it's sort of a Zen philosophy maybe, but it's in some ways it's best to take one day at a time most of the time, and do your very best in that moment, because the more energy you spend worrying about this or regretting that, it scatters your energy. So it's just, to me, every day. It's this guy I really like, Guy McPherson. He talks about, we don't know how much time we have left. We don't know the way the environment's going and the way the ecosystems could totally break down very, very quickly. We could have an ice-free Arctic this summer. It's possible. And so his whole thing is live a life of excellence. Love what you do and do what you love, and let the people you care about know it, and just that's to me the best head place you can be in. It's just be in the moment.
Yeah, and it kind of gets back to strategy in a way, because the rich, the powerful, they can make mistakes and they can recover. When you don't have money, you don't have power. Basically, you have to wait for those mistakes and create an opportunity. And because we don't have many opportunities, because once it's gone, it's wasted. That's why Bernie, when he opened a lot of people's eyes, and we're all here, a lot of us are probably here because of that. That's an opportunity, and the entire thing that's happening right now in the political realm, that's a big mistake on DNC part, and that's an opportunity to capitalize on. And so we can't make mistakes. We can't get fooled again. Otherwise, we're back to square one. We wasted all this time, and a lot of people wasted a lot of their money.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, we've tried this with Sanders. We've seen what he will do when pressures are put upon him. And even if he's able to withstand it this time around, the system is designed to cut off the head of anybody who they disagree with.
Right.
I just don't understand the point of supporting Bernie for office outside of, senator at this point.
Sure. And I totally get where you're coming from. I really do. Because, my feeling is just because you overall like someone doesn't mean you're not going to call them out and say, hey, this wasn't all right, and
well, it's getting back to strategy. It's not a matter of feelings or whatever. It's just a matter of what's going to work. And we can see the way the system is played out.
Okay, looking at this not feelings, but strategy-wise, the things that Bernie is not bringing up that people are upset with is the DNC lawsuit, right? In the Russia thing, he's kind of playing along with that. Is that it, or is there anything else?
He was complicit in subverting the election, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, that for me personally, I was disappointed because he kind of was, doing some saber rattling and kind of saying, yeah, I'm going to fight this mess all the way to the convention. But when the convention came, he kind of kept his mouth shut, and it was really creepy and really awful. And I don't think it was all his fault. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. Nobody did.
Yeah.
I think it's a well-timed thing. I don't think it's gonna run again. So
Well, bringing up the complicit, I don't think he was complicit because he brought up the voter irregularities. He also brought up, and his wife brought up, that like if they continue to talk about that the way that Trump talked about that, people are going to think it's sour grapes or he's lying to them until they have evidence. So it's like he brought all that up and then he dropped it. So like really what he was like sending as a message was like, I can't be the one to talk about this because it looks like it's just me being like, oh, they cheated and I had lost my victory.
But they did cheat.
It looks bad on him to be the one to say it. He basically needs like people around him to keep saying it.
Yeah, well,
because he hasn't said anything negative about the DNC lawsuit. Like he is just kind of like, using your chess metaphor, the king on the board, he can't really do anything in that regard.
I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about the people. I'm worried about people being confused about what happened. So I don't really want to keep talking about it all the time. Earlier, we were forced to say because of like Chad's version of the topic that we didn't want to continue with, then we were forced to almost say like, okay, let's not talk about anything about the election, but it's fundamental what happened there, and people in so much as people aren't getting it, don't remember, are hoodwinked by the Russia, like in that much, we really got to remember it. I was going to say that I have this personal motto that I came up with once. It's not that, it's just a little anecdotal thing, rough guide thing, compass thing, but like, just that like, if somebody's done something to me that I feel like it's like was wrong, if they will remember it, then I don't have to. Like, so like if they'll like apologize and really mean it to the level of like that they're gonna remember like that and not do that, then like I can let it go, I can forget about it and whatever. But if they're not going to, then I better, because it's gonna happen again. And
sorry, there'd be like, it's good that there's pushback on it, but like there's things about, I would say it would be fairer to like call out Bernie on his foreign policy stuff right now, because like there's some questionable stuff there for him being like pushing for the leftist values, is that he seems very pro-empire, because I don't know, I have this personal theory that because of his parents and his upbringing being like Holocaust survivors, he thinks it's good that America's the one in power and stays very much in power and has that kind of might. But like when it comes to like the election fraud thing, like I don't understand where people are coming from on that, unless they're not able to think of like the positioning or the strategy on it, because the DNC lawsuit has to go through. They have to win, and I hope they do win.
Well, they don't have to win.
Free Bernie to say, I told you so, because he's hinted at it. He said there's election irregularities, there is like voter irregularities, we're going to look into it more. But like past that, if he keeps talking about it, like he looks bad. And when he talks about Russia, if you listen to him, he's very careful to mention we have to look into what Russia did to interfere in the election. And they try to do this every 4 years. So they are going to have tried that along with China, along with North Korea. So it's not like Bernie's like, Russia did it, Russia hacked the election. Like I never heard him say specifically Russia hacked the election. Like he says we have to look into this investigation. And Trump's, team, they do have some sort of shady dealings going on. So it's like those people may or may not need to be removed. There is something going on with like Russia, but it is not to do with the election. And what they try to do is muddy the waters and make it seem like there's some sort of connection between WikiLeaks and Russia and Trump, which there's not. And that has to be, people have to understand that, but it's just a constant barrage on the news of misleading people into thinking that these things are all connected when they're not.
But
I won't,
here's
I won't even say there's something fishy going on between his team and Russia because I haven't heard anything definitively.
So here's an example of
It
an
might be
analogy.
more fishy than what Hillary was doing, but honestly, I think
Here's the thing that I disagree with is it's kind of an analogy like you don't want to appear weak because someone cheated you and won is same thing as someone like in the Olympics that lost a 100-meter race, 200-meter race to someone who took steroids, and he knew that person took steroids, but he doesn't want to be the one saying, "Hey, I lost because this guy cheated because he's using performance-enhancing drugs." But
right, because this makes you look like you're being a spokesperson. If you have other people with evidence.
And it's actually happened where someone said outed someone for taking performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
That person got tested and that person was right. But you know what? As much as there was fallback on the person who took the drugs, but that person was so charismatic that everyone liked that person because they were so good that they didn't want to believe it. And so the person who gets outed is the person, just like the whistleblowers, the person who mentioned it, and it makes them
Oh yeah. I mean, there's almost
horrible.
a weird culture in this country of really a sort of hatred of people that are what we call a tattletale or a rat or a fink or whatever, you know, because if you're the one that comes out and goes, look at what they did, even if you're totally justified doing it, the public is not going to have a good opinion of you.
It starts in school. Like, you remember in school they did, don't be a tattletale, and it's like, well, but shouldn't I be honest, you know?
Well, and you guys got to remember, there's a historical precedent here. I mean, Al Gore won Florida. It only takes the news media to tell people that someone won. So in actuality, the big winning this suit is actually, to me, if the Becks get to a point where they get discovery, if they can get some unlimited discovery on what's happening inside the DNC, it is sure to give us more info than we've ever had about how they're fixing the elections from within. And that is about, even if they lost the overall lawsuit, just getting that in the public sphere will greatly help.
There's like a threshold with the mainstream media of they won't cover something that their sponsors or people who will give them money, corporate overlords, they say don't talk about that. But when the story could make them better ratings or more money than what their sponsors could, then they're going to run with it anyway, even if it's like counter to the what they want. Because it's like, even though they hated Trump, they kept running stories on him because of their ratings. So if the DNC lawsuit gets to that point, we're good. And I hope it does.
And Bernie's strategy hasn't been played out yet. For example, 2018 and 2020. If he does run for president in 2020, we'll see what he does and doesn't do, and then whatever our thoughts on him right now is justified or not. And then, of course, there's more time. Like, maybe he does revert back towards the progressive, create a third party, or does something with the DNC, like there's support for him in the DNC. But then again, does he become someone like Barack Obama, who just right? Or
yeah. Well, I agree.
I don't see him. I don't see him doing that. And what I think another possibly talking chess moves is he may not be the guy that he wants to run for president in 2020.
That's what I thought about.
He may want Tulsi to run, and he's going to run blocker for her. She keeps quiet. He goes out. He takes some of the slings and arrows for the progressives, but he keeps on message, and she, follows along with his message. And
that was this thing that ran through my head. The
Sanders Institute and everything, you never. so many things can happen because he's a shrewd old cat. That I don't want to guess because he's an old chess player. Even I don't want to guess what his moves are yet. I want to see let's see what happens. After the 2018 and that opening move after that, that's when we know where he is.
Well, he just can't operate within the DNC infrastructure and have any hope of success.
But that's the thing.
Unless they don't know what he's going to do next.
He could take Tulsi.
He can't control it. He can't take it over. I think that's an absurd.
I mean, nobody
philosophy.
can completely control. The deep state has gotten to a point where, it's basically the military-industrial complex versus anyone. Like Trump fell in line in 70 days. So,
yeah.
He was already
he did fall in line
before that. He was really talking about his generals supporting him.
But like the military-industrial complex is like the big boss battle at the end. Where we're gonna have to bring everybody in. We can't Leroy Jenkins this shit. Like we're gonna have to plan it and get everybody together and do this.
And
we'll take out some of the corporations before this.
And I will say, just like in chess, I think Bernie knows he made a mistake, and when you make a mistake in chess, you have to wait for the other person to make a mistake. You have to play it safe. And although it sucks to be in that position, it's the only way to win. You're looking for that stalemate. You're not looking to win. You're just not looking to lose. And I think at this point, he's weighing the options. He's waiting for an opportunity. And because
but what do you do against an opponent that can just...
he's going to bring Tulsi out like the queen.
Let Garden speak. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, what do you do against an opponent that can just arbitrarily choose to put their knight back on the board whenever they want?
Yeah.
Or take one of your pieces arbitrarily? Mm-hmm. Or perhaps, cause some kind of out-of-game distraction? Do you do it against an opponent that can do all these things as many times and as often as they want?
Are you talking about the military-industrial complex, or are you talking about the DNC?
No, just the power structures.
There's power structures, either or, the combination of the two.
Because with the DNC, the problems they had with them, I don't think they can do that again because everybody's heard the rumors now of the cheating. And as long as Julian stays on the board, if they get caught again, that's it. They're done. They're going to be trying to do all these careful things to, at least not make it look like they're cheating, which is going to make it harder for them to do things to Bernie or to Tulsi or to Nina in the future.
Well, they can cheat again, it's on the books.
Is it going to be an unspoken rule that if you go to the debates in 2020 that you're not allowed to talk about WikiLeaks, you're not allowed to talk about what happened?
Yeah, but that's not going to last. I mean, what happened to Pompey? He's like, we're going to take care of WikiLeaks right now, and then he just disappeared. Because
a charismatic person like Nina Turner, I guess, or somebody, whoever it is, and they could say a lot more if they had in their tool belt or at their ammunition or whatever, to be able to talk about things like Jimmy Dore and Lee Kemp and Tim Black and whatever, with that included. The rest of all media, basically, that's off the table for them because they have to be complicit with something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just worried about the people. I'm worried about the people's understanding. I'm worried about how much of a extremely small minority of us that see it this way or somewhat similar to this way. It's just that I'm not really worried about what those power players do as much as people sort of matrixing and Keanu Reevesing through the BS. That's really waking up to that. With themselves about that this is fabrication.
I agree.
Yeah, look at all the people that didn't vote.
Good night, Ariel.
We all know. I think we all know.
Good night, Ariel.
Love you so much. I'll see you soon.
Triggered.
See ya.
Triggered.
Night, Ariel.
Take care, darling. I love you all.
Night, Ariel.
Love you too.
And then there were 12.
12.
Still a lot for
12 disciples.
Almost 3 o'clock in the morning.
All right, I got to ask this one question. This has always bugged me about the Matrix. Now, you're sitting in your apartment and somebody comes on your computer screen and starts talking to you, tells you to follow some white rabbit. Some chick shows up at the door and has a rabbit tattoo. Now you follow this chick to some club and they say they're going to meet you and all this heapy creepy stuff. And then they drive you somewhere at gunpoint, pull some bug out of you, and then say, here's 2 drugs. Pick one. Now, I've been in some weird spots picking drugs in my life, and I've known they can do some freaky stuff to my vision. And never ate nothing that made no mirrors melt and me go into stuff. So the idea of this dude with shades on handing me pills and saying this one or that one, and not like giving me a little bit more what's going to happen on the other side when I swallow the thing, you know?
That wouldn't fly.
Well, there was the office well in between where like then it was like the other element, the other antagonist showed up, which made the guys with the glasses or the guy with the which made the.
All right, so Brenda loves the new person on our Anything Goes and After Hours. So do you want to? Do you want to introduce yourself, Brenda, and just tell us about yourself? Or do you just want to listen? Oh, I don't think we can hear. We can't hear you. Your mic isn't on, I think.
She's got no mic.
Yeah, we'll see if her image is frozen, her video feed.
Well, in any case, as far as applying the chess strategy to politics, I mean, it assumes that both players are playing the same.
Yeah, we can hear you, Brenda.
Okay, cool. Hi there.
Yeah, we'll get back to it, Garden. Brenda, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Brenda. I've been chatting a little bit as Brenda Love, but I'm here. So.
So where are you from?
I'm from actually Rochester, New York, but okay. I live in Texas now.
All right. Well, welcome. You joined us really late because a lot of us are on Eastern time, and it's 3:45. So we're not sure how much longer this will go, but well, actually, you're in the same time zone, so you're up late.
I'm in Central Time. So.
All right. So we're just kind of. You're probably listening in, right? All the chess talk, political strategy, and
yes.
Okay.
I can jump in.
Yeah. So Garden, you're saying that about the chess strategy and stuff with the political.
Oh yeah, that's it assumes that both players are playing the same game, and they're not. Not playing the same game.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Like, how can you win when one person's playing by the rules and the other one's not?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I did like Steph's point, though, too, because it's at any point, you know, Julian Assange could come in and wipe all the pieces off the board and flip it over and make it into Monopoly, you know? I mean, it could just change the whole game, so...
Well, I mean, he could have a bigger impact than he did even in this election, because people already have, you know, such an impression of the DNC right now that, I mean, their reputation is down in the dirt, but they don't seem to care because the military-industrial the deep state basically is like, you can have this form of, you know, like it's like their goal is to get everything to the right where they have to pay as little taxes as possible, and all the serfs, all the little people are paying the taxes to keep everything going. And if things are bad for them, who cares? Because they have money for all the nice things, and they can buy water if the climate goes disastrous, and they can even get a rocket ship to another planet if they pay Tesla enough. Although he walked out on Trump, so he may walk out on them. Seems like he's better. I like Elon Musk as an inventor, but I wasn't sure about him because he was for minimum wage or something, but he seems to be kind of coming around. So it's I'm feeling back and forth with him. But yeah, okay, I'm rambling again. But they'll get in trouble for it, but they've still it's like the DNC has the problem of I don't think they're in a stalemate. I think that Bernie still has Tulsi hidden behind him and Nina hidden behind him. You know, like people know that they're there. You know, it's not like they're completely hidden. It's just that they're sitting, you know, like in a placement where they're going to come across the board at some point. Like you said, they have to wait and do the timing right. Hopefully, I hope you're right on that because I got the same instinct. So I'm like really excited that you had that same thought. You know, but like I don't think they're in a stalemate. I think they have problems where each player can't move certain places metaphorically because the DNC has the mainstream media. So Bernie has to be careful because he needs to use the mainstream media to get a certain message out. Otherwise, not enough people will know what these oligarchs are doing to people because they've got them, you know, they're busy. They're so busy on the hamster wheel, they don't realize that they put them on that hamster wheel and it's not normal. You know, they're just trying to survive. And until you're knocked out and you have time to research this, or you happen to be lucky enough to be in a family where, you know, like you can, like you're married and the husband has a really nice job and you can research this stuff, or you're on disability so you can research this stuff. It's like if you're in a really bad situation or a really good situation, all the people in between who are just the working class have no idea half of this stuff because they don't have time. They keep them busy on purpose. So it's like he needs that mainstream media and they have control of that, but they also have the problem of their reputation is dirty. So they can't do the same. They can't do it so they can't get caught cheating again. It's like they're being blatant about certain things, but if they get caught doing something like they did this last year, it's over for them. But the question is, do they even
they're just gonna do what they did last time, which is just pretend like it didn't happen. So I mean, like,
yeah, but when they did that this time, Trump won, you know, like, and people are still defending him, even though he's doing all the horrible stuff that Hillary was going to do. A little less, you know, we're moving towards war with Russia a little slower, which is good. It gives us a delay time to figure out what to do, but you know, it's still, he's moving in that direction. He's slowly getting puppet strings and being dragged along, you know, like less quickly than Obama, less quickly than Hillary was already on him and she's like, let's go, or I'm so happy to be a puppet.
I don't think the Russia thing would have come up at all if Trump hadn't won. I think that basically was devised after she lost.
Oh, so Hillary was already set on war with Russia. She was saying it in her speeches, so it would have just come up a different way.
She want to know the fly zone.
All right. Good night, Bram.
Good night, Bram. Take care.
Have a good night.
Bye.
See you guys soon.
Good night. I tried not to listen to too many Hillary speeches. So.
I don't know. It always seems to be quiet whenever someone leaves for a little bit. So back on the chess analogy, not playing the same game. I think in war, it always kind of switches up the strategy and tactics. For example, American Revolution, the British fought the standard conventional way because they had the bigger army. They could, I mean, I wouldn't say they don't play the game, but Americans, they didn't fight the same fight as the British because they couldn't. They fought a little bit more of a guerrilla tactical style, non-conventional. Same thing. We found out that against conventional military, a guerrilla warfare strategy works. Very spread out, very precise hits on areas because you don't have the numbers of control. You don't have the mass, but the problem with being a bigger military, being massive, is you're limited in your movement. You're not able to be everywhere at once. You split your forces. So the way that we fight against the entire political system, the power structures, the money, is to be very strategic, precise in what we hit, and not be so targeted that we can go down very easily. Like they could take 1, 2 of us down, but you know, they can't take hundreds or thousands of us down. That's why we need more people to start making videos in whatever platform, not just YouTube, not just Facebook, not just you know, on Twitter. Start spreading out, moving around, making it so it's hard to target, and
like writing and other, you know, there's other formats too.
Exactly.
Well, I think
if someone creates like a blog, we can get
also,
writers and whatever together.
Just Ebon, you were in the military, right? You were a veteran, right?
I was a U.S. Navy for a few years, but I have a other than honorable discharge because there was a time where I did not want to bomb people while I was in the Navy, but they didn't like that idea. So one day when actually 9/11 happened, I stopped following orders. But I was telling them for like a year and a half because I was trying to get out and saying, you know, I'm not gonna follow orders when we're about to start dropping bombs or whatever. And so when that happened, you know, they knew it was coming. And I also said, like, there's like every year or something, you can go up a pay grade, you can take tests and whatever. But I said, I don't want it. You know, I want to get out. So just whoever wants it, they should do it. But basically, just give me a failing grade. But yeah, but there's like the best time that I've probably had, like life experiences, was when I was in the Navy, when it was on the USS Carl Vinson. And the people that you meet, but the thing is, you can't change it from the inside. That was kind of my hope, understanding the structure of the military, trying to change it from the inside, and because there's a lot of inherent problems with our military structure, and it could be the same problem. Like if it boils down to, it's the same problem of like the Constitution. You're going to protect the U.S. Constitution, right? That's your oath, but your oath is also to follow the President of the United States. So if the President of the United States makes an unconstitutional order, what do? It's just like if you're in the Nazi army or the German army when Hitler was in power. Do you follow the president, or do you follow what's good for the country? What the foundations of the country was for? And
well, I also think in America we have a less political childhood. You know, like I think as opposed to other countries where they've had more conflicts that are recent or in their day-to-day life, where we've been kind of shielded from that, you know, from like the 2000s, the 90s, like those of us that grew up in that time period, where we didn't have to think about that kind of discomfort or anything. So I think this is our first entry into some kind of political disruption, you know, for a lot of us. So we're going to have to you know, get a basic understanding of history of America and political movements of America. And we have to do this in a short period of time in order to be effective, you know, and not have that experience of having like our day-to-day life being disrupted by political situations like other people would have in different countries.
Being a 90s kid myself, definitely, you know, it's definitely a lot to catch up on, and we don't have time really isn't on our side. And Ebon, I just wanted to go back to you a second. You read, I'm assuming you read The Art of War, right, by Sun Tzu?
Yep.
I was watching a program, I think last year, about how they compared Sun Tzu's philosophy actually fit better to the game of Go as opposed to chess. And they were providing evidence of how a Go mindset versus a chess mindset, as opposed to pertaining to war, won out numerous times. Basically, like using a piece to its fullest potential, occupying as much space, you know, causing as much damage as possible. as opposed to just like targeting one thing at a time. You know, something like that. I'm not a Go player myself. I'm a chess player like you. Yeah. But I could definitely see the merit in that.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Real quick, I'm reading the Chinese version, which is cool. Really slow coming. Slow. I'm doing it really tedious way. I'm actually writing it all out. I'm like, anyway, I'm not gonna dolly on that part of it, but I just saw one part that I was just working on, and it was just like saying that never destroy more than you have to, especially in cities, because you're just gonna create more trouble for yourself somewhere in there. So like that seems like really pertinent.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all a lot about philosophy, and in like if the game of Go is very popular in Asia, and they have like their own like Chinese chess is also quite different than the European chess that we pretty much refer to,
and Mahjong as well.
Yeah, and it's every type of country, every type of, I guess you could say, historical context of games, war games, whatever, and their philosophy of war. It's kind of dependent on that region, but what's universal is planning ahead, strategic thinking, making the most efficient move, not making a lot of wasteful movements, things you don't necessarily have to make. Because execution doesn't always work well in real life, and that accounts for like a portion of luck. Because you can have the best strategy in the world, but if it doesn't execute correctly, you're gonna lose. And that's why training and the way that certain things are set up is just as important as all the planning that you do. And I don't know. We could have a good topic on this on a segment art of war segment, I guess, or just military strategy, or just philosophy.
Well, there's broader game theories that can be discussed too. I mean, this stuff's been studied for a long time. And if you're familiar with the Rand Corporation and other think tanks, I mean, they've gone into all kinds of crazy game theories.
Yeah.
And those can be studied and looked at as well.
And a lot of businesses take on the approach of the same thing as in war. And the art of war has been applied to business strategy for a long time.
Oh yeah, it's been applied to politics as well. I mean, there are books of how it can be applied to politics, business, sports, even.
Yeah.
Well, it's about power. It's about power and weakness, and so
and the management of that and the usage of that.
Right, and it's kind of like maybe that's the problem. And how does it become the solution? And maybe that's wrong.
I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm thinking that the right way, but yeah, it's fascinating because I think humans in general are attracted to power. It's part of the social dynamic, and it's part of our genes, of how we operate. But
hierarchies. There's hierarchies.
Yes, it's hierarchy, but if we want to move out of that, hierarchy is how Trump is in power.
I'm gonna have to call it a night, you guys.
Okay.
I do want to talk about this maybe some more next time.
All right.
Night, Stevie.
Good night, Stevie. Thank you.
Stevie. Take care.
Bye.
I wanted to mention Plato's Republic. I think that goes underemphasized in terms of being really good strategy, or it's really fundamental and essential. And then also Machiavelli. I actually read. I was only supposed to read a couple 15, 20 pages for class, and I read the whole book. It was fascinating. It's just cold intellect, but it's just completely fascinating. It makes a lot of sense. It's very psychologically based.
Yeah, it's social skills. A lot of it's just social skills and the management of people.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes in not so ethical ways.
But it makes so much sense. It's like one of those things, like Coco said, like something about something ringing true. It definitely, like, you just like, oh shoot, like it's so obvious or ingenious.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, like, just a little example. A good con man, a good faker, will always give you hints of the truth, right? He'll never tell you a complete lie, or he'll never always lie. He'll always have a little bit of truth to him, just enough to get you to trust him.
Yeah.
And that's when he hooks you and he gets you.
Yeah.
He or she, anyone.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you show them the part of the truth, then they've got no other assumption that you are telling the truth, and then the lies that you can get away with, you just say, I can't show you that right now. That's how they subvert you by
Yeah, they work in the partial. They tell you something other people won't say because it's some sort of social taboo, or like it's they find a piece of information that it's not that people want it to be true, and they kind of mix that with the things that it's like they'll take this one piece of truth and wrap it around this little coating of or no, they'll wrap the truth around the thing that's not true. Maybe, I don't know. My metaphors.
They'll sugarcoat the truth.
I got an example for you that works for you.
They don't give you the truth raw because that can hurt.
Hillary Clinton and her I am for the fight for 15. She wasn't for a $15 minimum wage. She was saying she was behind the people fighting for a $15 minimum wage. So it was a way of telling you a lie without telling you a lie.
And
right.
And
it's a lie of omission.
Yeah. Go ahead, Broken. I'm sorry.
It's a lie of omission or a lie of obfuscation.
And there's and sometimes it's a one-way thing. For example, military, they call it a volunteer army. You can volunteer. It's not forced upon you to join. But what they don't tell you is you can't unvolunteer voluntarily. Right? So if you volunteer for something, usually you can volunteer out. But when you try to do that in the military after you join, there's repercussions. So
that's true. And I always wondered. I want to get your guys' take on it really quickly. We live in a where it costs nothing to learn how to take lives, but yet it costs a fortune to learn how to save them. Meaning, you could go and sign up for the military, it's free, get training how to kill people, whatnot. But yet, to go to university to be a doctor, a medic, something, an epidemiologist, whatever, it costs thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars.
No, it's typical.
It's kind of, I don't know, I've always thought that was backwards in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
Go ahead.
Most people can be real good caregivers, The people who want to do it just because they want to do it.
For me, I'm actually a licensed massage therapist, and people sexualize my profession a lot, and I have to fight against that. But I think, I agree with you that we live in a culture of violence where violence is easier than getting a license to practice healthcare or some kind of preventive medicine or therapy for people. And I think that's really fucked up.
You want to be a social worker or a doctor or a nurse or something, you should, or like a engineer or environmental scientist, I feel like you should get a discount at college if you're going to maintain a decent grade.
Epidemiologists too. I mean, they're studying the causes of disease.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. Like, I'm not sure how true this is because every time I read stories about it, they say that for someone who's in prison on death row, it's more expensive to kill them than it is to have them in life imprisonment. And someone explained it to me once before. I just kind of decided that they knew what they were talking about. But does anyone know the details of that?
I think
Probably because of the appeals process and
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and also, I never quite understood it. Everybody, it's usually the people that scream the loudest about things like liberty and freedom that are the most for the death penalty. Now, to me, the idea of having my liberty taken away from me the rest of my life is worse than saying just kill me. You know, I mean, to me, I don't know about others, but that's why the idea of freedom and liberty to me mean something, I guess, a little deeper than people that think the death penalty is a good way to go. Because, like, I understand like personal revenge. I mean, I understand if somebody did something to my family, I'll get the shovel, but it's not healthy for society to live that way. You know, I can understand a person having emotions like that, but a government can't have emotions like that. That's why the period after 9/11 was so horrible, because it was used to just get us into fear and then ram through a bunch of crap that we'd never let happen in a million years.
It was used as a launching pad.
Well, it's good to know that the shovel is your weapon of choice, Steve.
Oh no,
that's to dig the grave.
Go-to weapon.
Shovel's just to get rid of. No.
I was actually kind of talking about you're talking about the game not being fair. I kind of just think that it's like in terms of making money. It's some, the way that's so stacked so differently. Sometimes some people can just make money, like all kinds of money with by virtue of being born with like access to capital or whatever it is, connection or something, and other people work so hard for so little. But I guess it's worse in other countries, for real. So.
For my clients, because I do mobile massage therapy, like I go to my clients' homes basically to work on them. And I was working on one client. He was like, "Yeah, I own a property in Pennsylvania, and we're in Dallas, but he has a property all the way up north in Pennsylvania." Like, I wonder what it's like to own a property, not live in it.
So, like, I grew up pretty poor. And there's no opportunities. Like, you invest, and it's all based on percentages. So, for example, if I made $14,000 a year. Now, if I made 10% of that by investing it, that's like $1,000, $1,400 or something like that. Pretty low.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Ebon. Where did you grow up?
I was born in Houston, and I grew up in Seattle, around there. And then I moved over to Boston maybe a decade ago. And so I made a lot of mistakes when I started making a lot of money, using it or not knowing that, you had to incorporate or pay taxes for working as an independent contractor and all that stuff. And eventually I learned. And then also investing. It's like the easiest way to make money is when you have money, when you have capital. Like you put in, there's only so much that you need to live off of, right? So a lot of that goes into either retirement or it goes into just investment. If you're young, you don't need to worry about investing in retirement. You just invest and make that $10,000 grow into $12,000. Make that $12,000 go into like $18,000, whatever, and it just keeps building up while you're still making and getting more salary. So there's so many more options, and not only that, find ways to cut down on your taxes. Like right now, I could find, because of the ways that you invest and put your money in, you can actually get taxes lower than someone who's at the lowest bracket. So I could probably get my taxes as low as before when I was making $14,000 a year. And how crazy is that? That doesn't seem right.
Messed up.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
And so the incentives and the ways to break out of the poor system is almost it's probably the most difficult part of anything, and it's
like the biggest risk of Trump being in office. You know, he's a billionaire. You know, he's always going to be looking out for people that he lives. You know, like he lives in New York City, but he doesn't live in New York City. You know,
yeah.
he lives in like the 1% experience of New York City.
I mean,
he lives in a bubble.
Yeah.
People, like the millions of people, or like the population of New York City that lives there doesn't exist.
12 million people. Yeah.
Yeah, 12 million people.
Yeah.
You know? And he's never lived among the people. You know, even though he's claimed to be like the white working class, you know, no, the working class or the elite has no idea what the working class has to do. There's a huge gap, and it's getting more apparent with every day.
Yeah.
You know,
like Donald Trump's a New Yorker that's heard rumor that there's such a thing as a subway.
Right.
Like, you know, I don't like most of you. I don't take the Russia narrative about that Russia, or that there's connections with Russia and that he fired Comey because of Russia and yada yada yada, so on so forth. I don't really buy into that so much, and because the following statement would sound absurd for most people, but if you actually would remove like the Russia thing, Donald Trump. I feel like Donald Trump's actually doing a good job of staying out of the news, staying out of the media. Like I know there's all that, but if you would take that away, like he's kind of just, they're not really, I don't know, he hasn't been getting, I don't know, maybe you can understand, but maybe not.
I haven't been watching the mainstream media enough to know. I probably should, just to keep up with what they're doing. But I've been noticing patterns online instead and getting an idea of what they're up to.
Yeah.
And there may not be very many of us, but one reason I think that they are afraid of the damage that has been done, because it's like there's the theory that like maybe they don't even care and they're trying to lose because the idea is to get everyone to go to the right. So it's like corporations are like, well, if we can go totally right, why not do that? Because, you know, it's better for all of us rich people to like have to pay no taxes, and who gives a fuck.
The Democrats are super weak. Absolutely.
But, so it's like, it seems like, okay, maybe the DNC is throwing in the towel on purpose. But the fact that there's like coordinated attacks on the independent journalists tells me that they may not be concerned about whether the DNC's reputation is shot, but if both the DNC and the GOP's reputations are shot by 2020 with Trump, because they don't want people from the left and the right. Have you noticed that they started making these articles, a lot of these places that either have proven ties to CIA funding or to like big investors who may be connected to the military industrial complex, like they started making these articles like, oh, look where the far crazy left and the far crazy right unite on these things that you should watch out for. And it was like WikiLeaks, and it was the Syria thing, and it was what was the other thing? It was WikiLeaks, Syria, it was Saudi Arabia, and it was like they basically had Glenn Greenwald, which is funny enough, The Intercept. So you know they're talking about like if these people are quoting these places, watch out. So they're and then they're going through, and I mean, just it is like all in a row. You know, like I know that Tim noticed, because I brought it up before there was a pattern, because I started seeing a pattern, and now it's just so like they're not even hiding it, but it gives you an idea of like what's going on in their head. Is they don't want the left and the right uniting, because then it doesn't matter like what party they grab onto, you know, like as long as it's an anti-establishment candidate, you know. And
can I ask a question? What are you all responding to your centrist friends? You know, like if you follow, like, you know, I support H.A. Goodman just because I feel like he's very factual in his
Me
reporting.
too.
he may be sensational well at some points, like where he was like,
he has a wacky
Hillary's
personality.
gonna like Hillary, you know, but
He's excited.
like he was factual in all of his stuff, and I respect that. You know,
I respect him too.
I'll do my best to support him every single day.
This is how it should be based on the information. And so he says this is how it will be because the world is right. And it's like, no, HA, the world is not right.
like, you know,
He does.
besides all of his sensationalism, I think he's an idealist, you know, and I it's very romantic, and I appreciate
he wants the world to be right. He's like, looking at this information, Hillary Clinton should go to jail. It's like, yeah, but Hillary Clinton is not like us peasants, okay? Like, she's not.
I ran against her because she's Hillary Clinton.
You
There's
know?
only one person, or Bernie and whoever from Kasich. Or nobody ran against her. Like, there was no other contenders. Everybody respectfully declined to run that year because her way.
You know, like the footage I want to show to like the people that supported Hillary that I like lost friendships over.
So
is the stuff like from the Democratic convention where they were kicking like the Bernie supporters out and the seats were empty. Like everyone forgot about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's I have the same problem in Facebook, and that's where most of these people hang out. Is they don't want to hold conversations with you because they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to be associated with anything that's wrong. But when you have actual conversation and you can see where like yes or no questions get them, where their logic doesn't quite get to the point that they want to be at, and they don't want to see anything beyond what's given to them. So when you talk about certain subjects, it's you guys see where their stance is and how much they've researched it, and then where they're getting their facts from, and then who's giving it to them, and like beyond. So who how far will they go when they cite a New York Times article, and then that New York Times article cites of something that a Washington Post article cited, and then it cites to an anonymous source within the government, and that's their end source. But within,
I gotta say, like in my own experience, not just with politics, but just in general of convincing people of attempting to change somebody's mind or opinion on something, it's always better to do it in person. You have much more success that way.
Exactly.
Because online, or on Facebook or on text message, they're just words on a screen. You don't have the person's face. You don't have their voice, the inflection of their voice.
Yep.
Right? So they can be having a bad day and see your sincerely typed message, your honest, heartfelt message to them as an attack on their character. As you scream, you know?
Yeah.
Or it's like if you confront somebody about something one-on-one, or if you do it in front of everybody. Like they're gonna feel proud, or they're gonna have pride kick in if you do it in front of everybody.
And a lot of it's based on belief and not logical reasoning. And beliefs are strong because they're tied to emotions, and they're tied to
because I'm an emotional person too, but like when I argue with someone, I like to base it on facts.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's facts. You can't argue.
You know how tough people are.
Wait, hold on. Ebon wanted to make a point. You said they were tied to
emotions, stances where that's where their foundation is based on, not based on logic.
Right, and then they're tied there and forth to a person's sense of self. So when you question those beliefs, they believe that you're questioning actually a part of their identity.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite environmentalist, Rob Jensen, he would talk about people's ideas about or their beliefs about civilization, and how people would fight to the death to preserve
their belief about civilization. You know, because it was emotional. It was integral to how they lived their life. You know, like if you woke up in the morning, like, this is what I believe. You know, this is how I'm going to have my relationship with my wife and my child and my job. Like if someone came by and destroyed that for you and gave you some kind of different perspective, of course, you know, you would have some resistance to it.
We're all pretty numb though. Like we've all heard so much. There's like so many versions of it. I tell you what the truth is that it kind of like eventually it's like, oh, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything.
I think I like George Carlin's approach to it is find out what a person's boundaries are and then deliberately cross it and then have them come back over with you. I think that's kind of how he said it. And,
right.
That could work, yeah.
Yeah. And so find out how much they're willing to go as far as, you know, the way that your logic works. You know, just take them slightly out of their safe zone.
Right.
Take them out of there and then bring them back in, and they'll see things just slightly your way. Not entirely. They're not going to change their worldview. They'll change their maybe like town view.
It will push it in a certain direction for sure. And I think, you know, that's what we have to do as progressives in an articulate way for people that are centrist. You know, like we have to find that way to push people in a certain worldview that they're not accustomed to because they've been trying to like keep up with the status quo or whatever, you know, and there's a lot of resistance, you know, for that. And I think that's the fight with Bernie and Hillary, like, you know, like people that like I used to chill with and like was cool. I was cool with that. Like we used to have drinks and hang out, and like all of a sudden we were like having these really violent like discussions online and like.
Well,
like,
that's the
point. Like Hillary, like what the hell is wrong with you, Brenda? Like we're gonna have like gay rights and, you know, abortions, and why risk that for Trump? What the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, yeah, I want health care. I want $15 an hour. You know.
Garden, you're gonna say something?
Any political strategy has got to recognize off the get that people aren't as rational as they like to believe. You know, they've got these ideas that are tied up with their identities and, you know, so on and so forth. So
I was yeah.
You got to recognize that, you know, before doing anything.
Yeah.
And I think that no matter how good your logical computer is, you have to remember that each person puts in his own data.
Yeah, but everyone's vulnerable to it. None of us are immune.
You know, you're going to get the view of data that they have. So it's a very slow process, and it's always better to, rather than take on massively trying to make them into a movement, activists try to get them to agree on healthcare, try to get them to agree on education, try to get them to agree on the things that we know people agree on, you know. And you can argue about the pros and cons of what works best for healthcare, you know. But if you can get them into a conversation where basically healthcare is important to both of you, then you got a better chance of getting to some. Because, like you say, you start picking at somebody, they're going to dig in. You know, it's just reflex, and everybody does it, especially when everybody's as mad and sort of angry politically as they are now.
Yeah, and invested. You know, like for me, like, you know, like I saw this world, the world I always dreamed of. You know, like with Bernie. And like when I saw like my liberal friends voting for Hillary because they're being pragmatic, and it was rough, you know, and it was definitely battleground, and you know, very idealistic, and like what he stand for.
They're self-righteous. nose in the air.
Yeah, you know. But I think like a lot of progressives are self-righteous, you know, and
Minority, so we recognize that they're like, we're the majority. Shut up. We're gonna like browbeat you mission. That was it was horrible. It was horrible. People, I was hanging out with this group. I went to my neighbor's improv and like hanging out, and we went to drink and eat afterwards. And like this dude was just like, oh, you won't come to terms with, you won't come on board and be in line with Hillary. And I was like dead to him, and he was like just completely like a jackass, like totally like the rudest stuff, man. And people like that everywhere about it, all over the place on the internet. And I was in person. That was like right to my face. He would just like, you know, it was like saying bye to people, and then it just like blank me, like why, like just like this person, such a.
It's difficult because you have like that rejection politically, you know, like and idealistically, but also socially. You know,
it was self-righteous indignation. Do you know like Cartman on South Park? He was like, oh,
out to the yeah, now like
PC now. I'm so PC too.
I'm not gonna call you anymore, and you're like, what the fuck, you know? Like I'm trying to have a better world for us, and he's like, no, you have to be pragmatic, you know, and it's like, no.
I like how you can be against Trump, but then also like have the viewpoint you have about against Hillary. That's nuanced. That's.
I mean, it's the same thing with me with conspiracy theories. Like, I think the most likely, situation was we did go land on the moon, but there are some validity to the fake moon landing stuff. That.
Hey, Ebon, did you read my crazy moon base theory? Read that?
I didn't yet. I'll check it out because
read it.
All right.
That actually could be true, man. I really think
yeah, I think it might be. I think like if you go to Ebon's moon video, you'll see my comments on it.
Okay, I'll definitely take a look.
Surprised, like completely, I would not be surprised.
But there could be other bases on the moon, if you know what I mean, Garden.
What's that?
What's that?
What's that, dude?
I was saying that there could be other bases there that are not U.S. owned.
Conspiracy. We've been on the moon.
Oh, yeah, it makes perfect sense to me if there might be a base up there now.
We need some specimen samples ASAP. Like, we need proof.
What? What was that? Okay, go ahead, Steph, and then Garden. Sorry.
I was gonna answer her question on the strategy thing. Like, for me, like I kind of did I've been doing the opposite because like when I would talk to people one-on-one, it would always turn out into a fight because it's like my stepmom, my dad, my mom, I haven't even talked to her. She's like a big Hillary supporter, and I was like, I'm just not even gonna touch that because she's always been like extreme feminist to the point where it made me I don't know, like it was like I wanted to call myself like an equalist instead of a feminist. Like I was very put off by the feminist thing, and now it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm a feminist if it means equal rights, but like that's not what I'm seeing a lot, you know. But so I stayed away from that. But like I got in these like big fights with like my stepmom and my dad about like things where it was just like they were repeating things off of the news, and I was like, no, that's not true. Like they were like, oh, the WikiLeaks documents aren't even real. I'm like, no, they're real. They're forensically proven. That's why these people got fired. They're real. Anybody who says that they're not is lying. You can look this stuff up online. It's like, well, you're getting your news online. That's why you're saying that stuff. That's right-wing conspiracies. Like, no, they're just on autopilot, and it's so hard to like get anything through to someone who's like that brainwashed, you know. And when they're older and they're busy with their jobs, you know, like and they're planning for retirement and everything, and they're still in that busy phase. Like it's really hard to like get anything across to them. So it's like the mainstream media is very effective on the older generation.
Well, even like the older generation, like I'm 39, and I would say like anyone like
60s.
Yeah, like 5+, 5 negative who's liberal. like liberal people, they're invested in Hillary. Like they fucking believe in that shit. You know?
It's not there's older people in the Bernie movement, but it's the majority in their 60s are just that I've run into are just very stubborn, like,
Well, thanks for including me before the cutoff. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, we have one right here.
The people in their 60s who have figured this out have got to be the smartest people on the planet because they're the ones being targeted for the brainwashing the most,
Okay.
It's of any
All right,
consolation.
guys. Last word for Garden, and then I think we're gonna end the session. It's gone on long, and it's.
You didn't get to talk about the thing, Evan.
We'll talk about it another time because it's my wife is.
Gotta talk about moon bases, man. It's more important.
Let's save it for maybe the weekend edition. We have a weekend edition of Anything Goes tonight. Probably 11, 10, I don't know, whatever works. Eric will probably host. Eric's a machine. I don't know how you do it, Eric.
I do what I can to help. I like it.
Yeah, awesome.
That's why he wears the shades. I think he sleeps between when he turns on the mic.
That's why he had those glasses on.
Well, I'm awake.
Hey, good night, guys. Thanks.
Good night, everybody. Thanks. I love the conversations.
Night, everybody. Love everybody. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Night.
Night.